Have to throw my records out. Not a big deal here. Which ones? Sure. Yep. Hello, 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 everyone. This is Dr. David. Check in. Welcome to How to Reprogram Your Subconscious Mind. I'm excited. It's been a whirlwind 2 months, and we're just going to hit the ground running today. So just so I understand everybody and I can make sure that I give you the biggest bang for your bucks, I'd like to ask you guys a few questions, do a few administrative things before we jump into tonight's webinar. First one being, by show of hands in the chat, how many of you are first timers? If you're a first timer, type in your name, first time, and where you're checking in from, so I can help to figure out what kind of content to give you guys. Because like most people know, if I prepare for any kind of a training at all, I'll present, or I'll prepare a week's worth of stuff for a 1-day class. Or I'll prepare 30 days worth of stuff for a 5-day class. So I want to know how to direct that information for you best and foremost. If this is not your first time in Planet David, and there's a lot of veterans that I see, and that's awesome. Right? I love you all, and I'm glad you're here. If you are a veteran of Planet David, type in your name, how long you've been a student of the information of the technologies, so to speak, and where you're checking in from. And then while I'm going through the administrative stuff, actually, let's just go ahead and start with the administrative stuff. Because for a lot of you who are brand new, you might be used to a simple 90-minute webinar where they tease you about all the things that the person who uses their product has done for the next, and for 60 minutes of it, and then their next 30 minutes is pitching an offer. There's always an offer connected to our webinars, but the focus of our webinar is always to bring you real world applicable, hard hitting content that you can take out into the field and start using right away. So when we do a webinar, it runs anywhere between 2.5 to 3 hours. So if you did not budget at least 2.5 to 3 hours, you might want to reconfigure your schedule or catch the replay. But if you miss the replay, you're going to miss any of the fast action bonuses that we usually offer. So let me outline a little bit about how to get the most out of tonight's webinar. Tonight's webinar is all about changing your brain. It's all about reprogramming your subconscious mind and overcoming the problems you're facing in your life today. To do that, my job is not to give you just give you information. My job is to guide you through a set of experiences. Those experiences, if you take the time to actually participate in them, will show you things about your own mind, body, and nervous system that will completely transform what you thought was possible for you. Okay, so that being said, a couple of things. You're going to have questions. I get that. And I love questions. But again, with a webinar, we have a very strict schedule to follow. We have a very specific and very narrow band of content that we want to stick with. So if you have a question, by all means, ask it. That's right. Ask it. However, something you got to understand, if your question is going to take us in a direction that is not appropriate to the content of tonight's webinar, I will defer from answering that question. If it's a question that can be answered in a very short, succinct way, it's in alignment with the stage of the webinar that we're at, then I'm happy to answer that. If for some reason I still don't either see your question or I don't answer your question, there's two other ways that you can get those questions answered. First one is our Planet David veterans. That's why I had them identify themselves. If my veterans out there, if you see a question that I don't answer for whatever reason, and you have direct experience using our technologies to solve that problem, by all means, please reach out to the person asking the question in the least obtrusive and the least distracting way possible and answer that question for them. If by some chance that's still not enough, and you want a direct answer from me, which happens, I've been on both ends of that particular desire from time to time, where I want an answer from a specific person, not the peanut gallery, so to speak. Now, I'm not trying to demean or belittle anybody, but a lot of people, when they come to an event or a seminar, they're there for the person at the front of the room, not for the people who may know the answers but are not the primary focus. So that being said, if you want an answer direct from me, then they're usually within about 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes faster, after this replay or after this webinar closes. There will be a replay available on our YouTube channel. There will probably be a replay available also through our website and maybe some of the social media channels, but for sure on YouTube. What I recommend you do is, if you have a question that you want a direct answer from me go to the comments section of that video and type your question in. I make it a practice whenever I'm in the office and I'm not traveling or doing all kinds of crazy stuff to go through the comments on that channel 3-4 times a day, sometimes more, and I'll answer any questions that people put to me with the best answer that I can give. If I know the answer, I'll tell you, or I'll point you to a video on our channel or some other content that I think is helpful or useful. If I don't know the answer, I'll be upfront and I'll tell you that. I found it tremendously liberating to be able to say to somebody with sincereness, I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know, but the more I learn, the less I know. So that being said, those are the 3 ways to get your questions answered. You're going to need things to write with today. You're going to need things to write on, and I highly recommend you actually do the writing rather than typing. Okay, this came up at our last Defense Against the Dark Arts class when we were talking about something called graphotherapy, where there's something that neurological that happens when you take the time to physically write out change work or affirmations, or changing the specific characteristics of handwriting can actually change your neurology if you do it the right way. So I want you to write whenever possible. Now, again, if all you've got is a tablet or a keyboard, and that's fine, right? My intention on this webinar, by the way, is to guide you through several sets of altered state practices. So if you're driving and I'm beginning to guide through an altered state, please turn off the webinar or find a safe place to park, turn off the car, put it in drive, or no, not drive, put it in park, put on the parking brake, and feel free to get out of the car where it's safe to do that and practice the exercises. Otherwise, wait for the replay, right? Your life's too important to risk on something you have another chance to review. So that being said, let me finish with this last piece. If politically incorrect language, colorful metaphors, swearing, or the word boobies offends you, this is probably not the best use of your next 3 hours, right? My intention is never to offend anyone, but many of the things that we need to fix, we don't even know is a problem until it's provoked. And so we use a lot of techniques in our system that are designed to set off little bombs in your nervous system to let you know there's something that needs to be addressed. So my intention when I say something or I do something that provokes you in some way is never to offend you. It's to help you become aware of things that you may not have realized were an issue that needed to be resolved, right? And I'll talk about some of that as we go through the content of tonight's webinar. Now, our webinar is going to come to you in 3 parts. Part 1 is foundations. It's all about the things you absolutely need to know and understand, as well as several experiences I want to guide you through that set the foundation for what we're going to be doing in part 3, which is what we call the customization phase. This is where we customize the content and applications of tonight's webinar to exactly what you want to focus on as a group. Part 2 is what we call next steps and leveling up. It's how we take you from interesting information to lasting transformation in whatever aspect of life that you want. We're going to show you pieces of a system. We'll show you how to get access to the entire system. Then we're going to circle back in part 3, pick up where we left off in part 1, and continue teaching for another half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it is that you guys want. But it's based on what you guys actually want to learn more about. So it's my skill sets, my toolkit, the thing you want to learn about the most. Okay? If you're all good with that, just type "I'm good" in the chat so I know. Oh, I should also probably emphasize that I thrive on feedback because I'm deeply insecure. So the more interactive you are with this training, the more you're going to get from it, right? My job is never to just sell you some shit or whatever. My job is to give you experiences and real world information you can take out into the world today and start putting to work. So that being said, today's webinar is all about reprogramming your subconscious mind. True secrets for personal transformation. So in this class, we're going to talk about limiting beliefs. We're going to talk about how to remove blocks to your success, how to get rid of negative emotions, how to program your mind for unlimited success, health, wealth, and happiness. Some of you may be asking, okay, especially if you're a first timer, who the heck is Dr. David Snyder and why should I care? So to go through this, I'm actually going to jump in really quick and share a screen with you. I don't like what PowerPoints, but I find that sometimes it's easier to kind of follow a structure. So just bear with me here. All right. So what you see here is, I am in fact a doctor of acupuncture and Oriental medicine, and if all things go well, I will be getting my second doctorate. Oops, sorry. There we go. I'll be getting my second doctorate in Taoist in Chinese energetic medicine, which is all the medical qigong, Daoyin, Shengong, Neigong stuff that a lot of it was sanitized out of the original Chinese medicine. So I'm very, very proud of that. And God willing, and the creek don't rise, I'll have a double doctorate by the end of this month. I've also authored over 15 different products in various forms of human influence. Everything from conversational hypnosis, the most powerful words in human language, all the way up to how to create stories that are neurologically irresistible, how to talk to people so they heal rapidly. In fact, you can look on the YouTube channel and you can type up things like instant conversational pain relief, and you'll see me actually arguing somebody out of pain in a way that it goes away and doesn't come back. I've covered courses on remote influence, vibrational healing and influence, many forms of hypnosis and hypnotherapy. I'm a certified master trainer in neuro-linguistic programming. I've done many forms of other types of influence, and I'm constantly researching and creating more. What you're seeing here is a clip from our Global Gurus page. In 2020, I was named the #1 NLP Trainer of the Year by globalgurus.com. And with all of which I use, everything I've talked about, I've used in my clinic in Solana Beach since 2005, treating physiological illness that is caused by repressed emotion. 99% or better, in my opinion, of most chronic illness is rooted in repressed or denied emotion that's locked in the body in some way and is manifesting itself either directly, literally, or metaphorically as some form of chronic illness. We've had a lot of great success using these technologies to help people. This is a copy of our letter from Global Gurus for, I think this is 2024. No, this is 2023, I think. And it says, it's with great pleasure to announce that your course, Killer Influence, has been chosen by your global peers as the #1 NLP training program in the world. So this again was something that we didn't expect, and we've been at the top of the NLP training world for about the last 3 or 4 years. I'm hoping 2004 will be another year for us. There's a copy of our page. I'm also a 10th degree black belt in a style called Ryukyu Kempo Karate. I have a 4th degree black belt in Shaolin Kun Tao, 2nd degree black belt in Kosho Kempo Ryu, 1st degree black belt in Fankuru Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a certified instructor in Combat Sistema, Cinco Mano Arnis. I also have a basic instructor certification in Modern Arnis, direct from the founder, Grandmaster Remy Prisas. And I'm constantly researching this thing called energy work. So I've been a Reiki master teacher since before Reiki was cool. I've been a Kabbalist, or I've been practicing Kabbalah since before Madonna ever heard of Kabbalah. So I'm very much a prima donna. I'm a certified advanced pranic healer and pranic psychotherapist. I'm certified in advanced DNA theta healing and manifestation techniques. I'm certified in the Bengston energy healing system. And as you see here, I'm working on my doctorate in medical Qigong under the title of Taoist Chinese Energetic Medicine. And hopefully by the end of this month, I can take the candidate off my name and add more consonants to the back of my name. So that being said, now when somebody looks at all these things, it's very often comes up that, so what, David? I mean, okay, you've done all these things, and what does that have to do with reprogramming your conscious mind? Well, the one thing that it comes down to is patterns. Human beings, everything we do, whether it's martial arts, whether it's disease, whether it's healing, whether it's influence and persuasion, whether it's energy work, all of those things pass through one clearinghouse, and that's the human nervous system. And so in order for all that to manifest, there have to be patterns and states. So everything that human beings do can be distilled down to a state of mind and body and a pattern that allows that particular phenomena to manifest. And it really doesn't matter if you're learning to drive a car, if you've got a fear of flying, if you're falling in love, if you are want to influence somebody to buy your product or service, to become a client, whatever it is, whether it's accelerated learning or getting over something that's holding you back, everything human beings do is in response to a state. In other words, a feeling and a breathing pattern. And that breathing pattern and that state have a structure to them. And if you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, you can identify that state, you can identify that pattern. And if you know what you're doing, you can change it. You can inject change at any point into the state or into the pattern, and the rest of the system will follow along because that's just how it's built. Okay, so what does this have to do with reprogramming your subconscious mind? As you can probably extrapolate, pretty much everything. Okay, pretty much everything. So are you in the right place tonight? If you can answer, and I want you to type yes, this is the interactive part of our webinar. If you can type yes to any of the following questions, then you're in the right place. How many of you have ever felt less than attractive and have fantasized about what it might be like to actually have charisma and be confident and to walk into a room and just have all the heads turn in a positive way? Any of you guys want to do that? How many of you have ever been afraid, right? Or insecure, or been in a situation that you shouldn't feel that way, and all of a sudden you have these familiar feelings in a new environment? Right? If that's true for you, type yes in the chat. If you'd like to protect yourself from being manipulated, if for some reason you get around these people who constantly know how to push your buttons and put you into states and make you do things you don't want to do, or actually cause you to say things you don't want to say, or, as is often the case, to not do the things you know you need to do, or not say the things you know you need to say. If you answered yes to either version of that question, type yes in the chat, because this is about you tonight. If you'd like to know how to have people thinking and feeling and acting the way you want them to, and naturally want to follow your lead, if you'd like to learn how to get inside people's heads and inspire and motivate them, starting with yourself, you're in the right place tonight. Type yes in the chat. Okay. If you'd like to be able to get inside the heads of job interviewers and make them love you in as little as 20 minutes, this is a good place for you to be. If you've ever fantasized or wondered how it could be possible to just move through the world and almost instantly put people in, these are not the Jedi, or these are not the droids you're looking for, kind of a thing. If you've ever fantasized about what it would be like to be able to actually do something like that, stay tuned, because I'm going to show you some really interesting ideas that you might be able to apply. Okay, how many of you, by a show of hands, answered at least yes twice to what's in the chat? If you answered yes more than twice, type me in the chat. Go ahead and do that. If you didn't, this is probably not the best use of your time. Okay, excellent. All right, so here's the thing. Before we go any further, I need to get something out of the way. I told you we have a 3-part webinar. And when I prepare for a webinar, I'll prepare 5 days of stuff for 3 hours of talk, right? It's true for this one too. So today, you and me, it's all about you. I'm going to take you as far as I can down this rabbit hole of personal transformation. I'm going to teach you as much as I can in the time that we have. And then I'm going to point you in the direction of where to go to level up. Is that a fair trade? Type yes if you think that's a fair trade. You're okay with that. Good, excellent. All right, so let me go back to my notes here because I got them all over the place. So my first question is going to be this. And this is going to lead us into our first drill. What is it that you most want to get from tonight's webinar? Obviously, I know you want to learn how to reprogram your subconscious mind, but my question for you is to do what? What is it you want to get rid of? What is it you want to put in? What is it you want to make better? And what's important to you about that? I want you to just take a moment, think, and here's the secret. Go with your first impression, right? Follow your emotion on this one, because this is where everything starts. Okay, so Jules wants to accept money into her life. Crystal says she wants to stop repeating patterns. Very good. Okay. Build better habits. Okay. What else we got? Stop social anxiety. Okay. Get a job that I love, Donna's saying. Excellent. All right. So, state change, create a substantial, consistent change. Okay. No money. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Oh, they're starting to flow now. Very good. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go right into our first drill, and then I'm going to circle back and I'm going to go through some fundamental principles because sometimes we can overthink things. So I want you to get out a piece of paper, and on the top of that paper, I want you to write exactly the 2 questions I asked you. What do I want to get from tonight's webinar? And I want you to ask your question underneath that. And the question that I want you to answer is this. And you can write the question too. What's that going to do for me? So for example, Peter said, no money blocks. Okay, so assume for a moment that, Peter, that you got that. You came out of this webinar on the other end of it with a process for no money blocks. What's important to you about that? What's that going to do for you? What's important about that? Answer those 2 questions in that order. So does money block? And the answers are going to be different for everybody. But the 2 questions you always want to be asking is, what's that going to do for me? And what's important about that? All right. And we're going to drill on this. This is called the emotional motivation checklist. If you've ever had problems being motivated, if you've ever had problems getting something done, if you do this process with yourself, it's going to blow your procrastination right out of the water. Okay. If you ever had a situation where you started with a New Year's resolution and 2 months into your New Year's resolution, it's a nightmare, this will help you get out of it. But we're going to use this to begin with to really tie into this webinar, to this training with me now, exactly what you most personally, selfishly want as a byproduct of tonight's training. Okay. And the reason we're doing that is because as you link those emotions to the processes and the instructions I'm giving you, you become far more accelerated and amplified. The energy that you bring up to move forward with that accelerates because you're focused on what it's going to give you, not what you need to do to get there. So the first level of this process, this is called the emotional motivation checklist. And I'll put a template up in a minute. What am I going to get from tonight's webinar? What's that going to do for me? What's important about that? Answer the question. Now, answer the question as close to verbatim as you can. Whatever comes up first, that's what I want you to write. And I want you to notice that as that energy comes up, there's a feeling that comes with it. And note where in your body that feeling is. You may even want to make a little notation next to your answer where in the body that feeling is. Okay. Okay, Michael says, I want to fix other people's shit and make them feel very good. Excellent. Okay, let's use that. So now let's say that Michael's done his first level, right? So I asked, what do you want to get from tonight's webinar? What's it going to do for you? What's important about that? So I might ask him, I want to fix other people's shit and make them feel good. Okay, so let me ask you this, Michael. If you could get that, if you had the ability to fix other people's shit and make them feel very good, I'm curious about something. I'm wondering, what's that going to do for you? What's important about that? So literally, I've taken the answer to his first set of questions, and I've asked the same questions. And you're going to notice when you do that, you get a different answer. So Michael's saying, I can build a community of happy people. Awesome. And Michael, if you could help people fix their shit, right? And that allowed you and make them feel very good. And that allowed you to build that community of happy people. If you could do that and you had that, ultimately, what's that going to do for you? What's important about that? And answer that question. Now, ideally, I want you writing all of these, okay? I'm using Mike. I started with, who was it? The first one I started with? I started with Peter, and then I'm working with Michael now, right? So, okay. So now he's answered the question. People can enjoy themselves, be together, build a second family. And what's important about that for you? People can enjoy themselves, be together, and build a second family. What's that going to do for you personally? What's important about that? And just type it in the chat. I don't need a long, drawn-out explanation, but notice the feelings that come up when you think about that, and write that. Everyone feels loved. I think that's as fundamental as it gets. Very good. Now, I'm going to. Okay. All right. Some people are going crazy with this. All right. You're doing great. I love that you're putting stuff in the chat, but make sure, because remember, the chat goes away, make sure you've written this stuff out personally. So let me show you what this looks like on paper. Okay. Share screen. Where's my screen share? Oh, there it is. It's on a separate icon. They keep changing the Zoom interface. Okay. Ingredients. Okay. Where's this? Where is it at? These are all the things we're going to talk about today. Okay. So if we go back and we review, I asked Michael and I asked Peter, what do you want? Right? What's that going to do for you? And here's an example. And Mike said he wanted, or Peter said he wanted no money block. So here's a very similar question. Then the question is, what's it going to do for you? And what's important about getting it? And we just took these same questions and we just went right down and we did it 3 or 4 times. Now, if you followed those instructions, by the time you got down to here to ultimately, what's that going to do for you? You should have some pretty interesting answers, right? So how many of you did this exercise? Let me see. If you want, I'll see if I can make it small enough for you guys to get a screenshot. I use OneNote because I do a lot of drawing and it's hard for me to work on PowerPoint. So if you've gone through the entire exercise, go ahead and type done in the chat. Okay, so Michael says, generally, the mechanism going for is community building. Right. Now, how many of you noticed by the time you were done with this exercise, there was a significant emotional shift in you? Yes or yes? Type yes in the chat if you did that. Okay, please take a screenshot of this and then type done when you've got it. Okay, this is how we get started. Okay, here's the first rule, and it's a rule of influence. And it's a rule of personal transformation. Everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's either a feeling they want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. Your emotional reasons for doing anything can be extracted and found using this process. So for anything you can conceive of, you can use this 3-question process, drill down, find the emotional needs or reasons why you want it, tap into that motivation, tap into that energy, and take off like a rocket. Conversely, if you understand how this works, you can guide another person through this process and link whatever you have to offer to what they most want and need, and they will do the 50-yard dash more often than not to do it for you and with you. Okay? So I'm giving you this. I usually wait till much later to give you this, but it felt right to give this group this particular exercise first. Was this help? Was this useful? Did this experience? I'm curious. What did you experience about this? Yeah, Lottie says, yay. Linus of Gaia says, very useful. Wendy says, my posture is better. Yes. Your posture and your breathing are innately connected to your emotions. So when your emotions shift, your posture shifts. And conversely, when your posture shifts, your emotion shifts. Most of us are not in are walking around in bad states, not because we're actually in a bad mood or there's something bad going on, but because we're in bad posture and breathing. It's really kind of crazy how fundamental this is. Okay, but I wanted to give you guys that experience because I'm pretty sure now I've got your undivided attention. Yes, as T. Harbecker would say, was that yes or yes? Very good. So let's talk about what else we're going to get tonight. Okay, I'm going to take you as far as I can in the time we have. I'll give you foundations and experiences, and I'll show you where to go next. So the first thing we want to talk about, if you stay on till the end of the webinar tonight, let's see, I don't have that. Okay, well, I'll tell you what I'm showing. I'm going to teach you how to hack the human nervous system. I'm going to teach you how your nervous system creates and maintains your own emotional stuff. I'm going to teach you the secrets for dialoguing with your own unconscious mind so that anytime you need an answer for why you're feeling the way you're feeling or why you're doing what you're doing, you'll know exactly how to talk to the part of you that controls all of that stuff and be able to get the answer you need. And then if you need to go in and fix it, I'll show you very fast, very simple ways to go in and fix that. I'm going to teach you how to talk to your nervous system and understand its responses in a way that allows you to get the fastest resolution to your problem in the shortest amount of time possible. I'm going to show you how your beliefs are constructed so you can begin to change those beliefs sometimes in seconds. I'm going to teach you how to eliminate procrastination, self-sabotage. If you've ever dated the same person with a different face, I'm going to show you how that mechanism works so you can stop doing that once and for all. I'm going to teach you how to take this emotional bonding process, this emotional motivation process, and use it as a foundation for every single change process you haven't been motivated to change. What else was on my to-do list tonight? I want to teach you how to remove blocks to success, overcome limiting beliefs, eliminate self-sabotage, all using a core set of techniques that all fit together like Legos. They're very modular, so you can use them in a way that is profoundly easy and powerful. And the best part is you can do them anytime, anywhere, under any circumstance, for any reason. So my question for you is that good enough for tonight? Is that fair? Is that if you came away with those things on top of the tools for doing, or in addition to the tools that you came here for, is that a fair trade? All right. So let's talk about the fundamentals first. And we started with this. Everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's either a feeling they want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. Period. Here's the rub. You have two kinds of feelings, just like you have two kinds of beliefs. And no, they're not good feelings and bad feelings. And no, they're not good beliefs and bad beliefs, although that's true. What actually is going on in the human nervous system is you have two sets of feelings. Feelings you know about and feelings you don't. And that's the rub. You see, when your body, when your system encounters a situation or circumstance and a feeling is generated in your body, it immediately does a systems check. It goes back through all of its files. Now, in our world, we call it the psychosomatic search engine. Linguists and neurologists might call it a transderivational search. But basically what happens is below the threshold of conscious awareness, you're in a situation or circumstance, your body generates a feeling. It's not an emotion yet. It's just a feeling. And it starts looking through all of its files and its memories to situations and circumstances where that sensation was felt before. And then it opens those files and looks at the label connected to that sensation. And that's the file it presents to your conscious mind. And now all of a sudden, what started as just a sensation in our body is now fear, anxiety, worry, doubt, mistrust, anger, rage, jealousy, envy. Why? Because of the memory label that your system has. Now, one of the fastest ways to beat that is the moment you become aware of a feeling, step back mentally from it and say, oh, I've assigned, this feels like fear. What else could this be? And the moment you ask your neurology that question, it creates a break in between the label that your nervous system's applied to it and the sensation. And because you've asked what else could this be, your nervous system is highly motivated to give you multiple answers. Okay? So just being able to become aware of when your state shifts and asking a question can generate a completely different, what we call emotional vectors, right? A direction and a force of that emotion. The moment we can disconnect the label from the feeling, we gain control over the feeling. Okay? Are you guys with me with this? Okay, well, let's try this, all right? So this would be the second technique. Now, again, if you're driving, don't do this, right? If you're operating heavy equipment or heavy machinery, don't do this, okay? We're gonna play the Metaframe game, or the meta-spinning game. So we're gonna combine, I'm gonna give you a hybrid technique. You're not gonna know which techniques I'm combining, but this will be cool for you. So I want you to think of something on a crappiness scale of like 1 to 3, something you would like to change. I want you to think about that thing and notice where in your body you feel it. Point to where you feel it, and then stop. Ask yourself a question. Give me a name for this feeling. Okay? So that when you've done that part, type done in the chat. Excellent. Very good. Now, I want you to just imagine, as you observe, I want you to go back to that feeling. I want you to observe it now and realize that the label you've attached to the feeling is just arbitrary. So as you look at that feeling, ask yourself the question, what else could this be? What other label would fit here? And notice what pops up first. As it pops up first, as you think about it like that, notice how the feeling starts to shift and change. Notice how it means something different to you. When that process is complete and you realize it's true, test it. Try to go back to the old feeling and notice what happens instead. When you're satisfied, stop testing. Type in the chat what just happened. Peter says, ha. Pretty neat, huh? And by the way, this doesn't work on everybody, so don't feel bad if you didn't get 100%. Peter says the feeling changed, the butterflies left the gut. Fantastic, Wendy. Now, how fast was that? How fast, right? Now, again, understand this. It took us hundreds of years of neuroscience to figure this shit out, that we could do this in a few seconds. So don't feel bad that it was so easy to change. It took us a while to figure it out, right? And again, if you want to read the science behind what just happened, there's 2 books I recommend for this. One is called How Emotions Are Made by Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett. And a second book by the same author is called 7.5 Lessons About the Brain. Okay. How emotions are made, 7.5 lessons about the brain. Okay. We're going to do something even cooler now. Now, again, for this, requires you to be a little bit more available to concentrate. But we're going to do one more change process, and I'm going to give you some principles that we're using to make this work for you. Okay. Is that okay? Can we do that? Okay. This is the internet. Here we go. Crystal's all smiles over here. All right, good. So here's what we're going to do. I want you to think of something else you'd like to change or like to get rid of or whatever. And again, keep it small for now. All right. And I'm going to explain why in part 3 of the webinar. We're going to teach you how to do these processes on bigger and bigger and bigger things. But the thing I want you to understand is that the way your nervous system has evolved, your first impression is to go after the biggest, most heinous stuff first, right? Immediacy and urgency are 2 of the primary drivers in the nervous system. And that's fine if you're working one-on-one with me or one of my trained associates or some other therapist who can help you guide you through that process. But if you're trying to do this work on yourself, by yourself, you have to change the way you approach it. A lot of the processes are similar, but there's some different prep work that needs to be done so that you have the greatest chance of success. And that's my job today, is to give you some easy, simple, fast, effective techniques that you can start nuking stuff in your life that's getting in your way in seconds, so you have the bandwidth to move forward. They're pieces from a much larger system called Identity by Design and Real-World Trauma Resolution. This is a system I created many, many years ago, where we systematically teach you how to remove all the negativity you didn't even know you had, how to remove the problems that just keep coming back, how to change that voice inside your head that was always telling you all the crappy things about yourself into a voice that becomes your own personal cheerleader. And then we teach you how to take those forth and how to get any state you want on demand for absolute success. We take those 4 pieces and we install it at the genetic and the pre-genetic level so that it becomes a genetic template that your nervous system just applies to everything it encounters. Then we teach you how to systematically remove all the negativity and the energy from your past memories and put them into your positive memories so that when you look back on the past, you only remember it in ways that make your life better and motivate you and inspire you to move forward. Then we teach you how to take all the qualities, characteristics of people and traits and talents of people you admire and install those like Neo in the Matrix, kind of through deep trance identification. So that's the big system that these techniques are drawn from. Now they're parts of bigger techniques. So we can eliminate pain. We can eliminate probably just about any physical or emotional pain in seconds doing some of the techniques that you're going to be learning tonight. But I'm giving you little pieces so you can experience this, right? Obviously, I can't give you every single thing and even if I wanted to in 3 hours, it just isn't enough time. So I'm going to take you as far down this rabbit hole as I can, speaking rather fast, by the way, and point you in the direction of how to level up and get access to everything. Is that fair? Are we doing well with this so far? You guys with me? Okay. So Jules was asking, what's an example of a small item? Crystal says, I'm super excited. Okay. So let's think about anything that maybe something that 1 to 3 might be anything from somebody stepping on your toe while getting into the elevator, maybe even breaking wind in the elevator, getting cut off in traffic, all the way up to maybe a 3. And again, this is completely my world, right? But you guys can get the idea of the magnitude of this. Maybe it's maybe a level 2 or 3 might be something like you ordered something at a restaurant and it wasn't what you wanted, and they refused to either give you your money back or change the order, something like that kind of level. Okay. So, but it's not something like, you just lost a loved one or you just lost a relationship or, anything super. We can deal with those things because the nervous system pretty much processes the same way. But if I'm not there able to oversee you, I don't know how to modify what's going on. So it's easy to start these techniques with things that have a less amplitude to them and then build up to them, which is called bucket listing, by the way. Now, I wasn't born. I was born at night. Well, I wasn't actually, but the saying goes, "I was born at night, but not last night." Don't think for a minute that I don't realize that you're gonna find the biggest, hairiest Godzilla mofo in your life and throw this technique at it. I already know you're going to do that, but I'm telling you up front, don't, even though I know you're going to do it. Okay. So anyway, so here's another technique. Actually, let me do this technique after what I'm about to share with you. So one of the things that we need to understand about our nervous system is that there are six dynamics to an unconscious response. There are six characteristics that when your autonomic nervous system, the part of you that controls your heartbeat, your long-term memory, your hormones, your respiration, right? When you dialogue with part of it, there are six characteristics that let you know if the answer is coming from the autonomic nervous system as opposed to the neocortex. Because you guys all know you have three brains, right? You have the paleocortex, which is the reptile brain, the brain stem, right? Over that, you have a layer called the limbic system, which is your dog or emotional brain. And over that, you have what we call the neocortex, which is literally the new layer. It's the youngest part of the nervous system. It's also the part that uses words and language to communicate. It also is the one that creates rationales for why your shit isn't working or whatever. The problem is that because it's the newest layer and we kind of perceive the world, at least consciously, through that filter of that neocortex, we tend to put its way of communicating and try to overlay it onto every other form of communication that comes up from our deep nervous system. So I'm going to give you something that I teach all of my students. This is one of the most important things I can teach you today. Yeah, as much as you like the what else could this be or the emotional bonding checklist, this is actually even more important because it lets you get to those other things in a way that you can trust the information that you're getting. And that's the big one. You see, in our culture, we're taught to vilify the unconscious mind. It's changing now. In the past probably 10 years, it's changed a lot. But many of us are still inundated with scientific this and logical that and mathematics that and so forth. But the truth is we're not rational, logical beings. We're irrational animals who learn to think and speak. And so many times we're taught not to trust that animal side of us. But it was what got us here. It's what allowed us to survive. Because a lot of people, especially thanks to guys like Freud and other people, a lot of people believe that everything that's bad about you is in your unconscious mind. And by default, they think everything that's good about you is in your conscious mind. Nothing could be further from the truth. Everything that's not great about you, by definition, is in your subconscious mind. But everything that's great about you, that's awesome about you, that makes you an amazing human being, it's also in your unconscious mind. Right? So we need to learn to trust that unconscious. We need to learn to work with it and understand its mode of communication so that we can create dialogues between the different parts of ourselves and have every piece understand what's going on. When I dealt with clients, and I've dealt with every form of chronic illness and that I can imagine, as well as most forms, as pretty much any form of trauma that's imaginable. One of the things that I see over and over and over again is people aren't the way they are because of the things that happen to them. They're not even, they're largely the way they are because they recorded the things that happened to them, but mostly that misunderstanding comes from applying the wrong filters to the information. In other words, not knowing how to get to the level where that stuff's being stored in the first place. And I know I'm kind of talking really fast and I'm giving you some information that's not immediately actionable, but I want to set the frame for you guys. I want you guys to understand that the biggest piece to changing our subconscious and reprogramming it is understanding its dynamics, understanding how it communicates versus how the central nervous system and the neocortex communicates. And once we can start to do that, now we can start to mine it for information that we need to make rapid, deep, linear changes. Okay, so we need to understand these going in. So I'm going to go ahead and shift to my OneNote again. I have to six dynamics. Hold on a second. I shouldn't have closed my OneNote earlier. Dialoguing. that's not working. Let's try this one. 6 dynamics. That's not working. I mean, I don't want to do these by memory. I wanted to give you a graphic to look at, but apparently my OneNote is not behaving, which happens from time to time. Just bear with me. There we go. It was actually right where I left it. How about that? All right. So take a screenshot of this. This is going to be super important. Remember this, anytime we're going to do work together, your unconscious mind always answers first, usually non-verbally. So the first thing that pops up, that's what you go with. 2, it always answers honestly. In other words, when you ask your unconscious mind what the problem is or where it thinks the problem is, it's going to give you an honest answer. It might not always be factually correct, but it is what your unconscious mind has perceived to be the truth, and that's what it's operating from. Your unconscious mind does not give a whit about what's factually true. It cares about what it perceives to be true, because every decision it makes and every action it takes is based on that perception. Okay? Now, it's aware of a lot more stuff than you are consciously. And we need to understand that. It's not omniscient by any stretch of the imagination, and it's certainly not unbiased. But it makes the majority of decisions that guide your, that drive your bus. Okay? So I want you guys to understand, always answers first, always answers honestly, always feels like you're making it up. This is because the part of you that controls your long-term memories, the part of you that controls your emotions, the part of you that controls your heartbeat, your blood pressure, your hormone balance, your neurotransmitters, is also the part that makes things up. And that's why it feels made up, right? You'll always have an urge to edit what just came up. If at any point during any of the exercise I've given you so far, I asked you to do something and follow the first thing that came up, and the next word you heard in your mind or felt in your body was, that's not right. That can't be it. You just experienced what I'm talking about. Okay? The neocortex, that new layer of the brain, is always trying to edit or impose a narrative on the information that wells up from the subconscious mind based on the feelings you've accessed. So you need to understand that the moment you try to edit something, it's probably the right thing. The unedited part is probably the most correct. It's never going to be linear, which brings us to our next 2 pieces. The information you're getting will never be loud. It'll almost always be quiet or off in the distance, like a whim or a notion in the back of your mind. And it'll almost never be linear. So you may come to me, if you were coming to me clinically, for example, and by the way, if you've got a screenshot, type done in the chat. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and jump out of this. Perfect. We'll come back to this one in a minute, but I want to see you face to face. I got this all the time when I was treating patients. People would come in and they say, look, I'm 35 years old. I got divorced 3 years ago, and I'm still not over it. I can't get back into the dating game. I still have a lot of anger and a lot of resentment towards my ex-spouse, and I just need to get done with this, right? It's, I can't live the next 3 years like this. I say, great. I put them in a chair. I talk to their unconscious mind. I say, go back to the very first scene, situation, or event that is the source, the beginning, the root cause of the problem you're here to see about today, or the feeling you're having in your body today. And all of a sudden, they're 5 years old watching their parents argue. Okay? And they're like, what? That has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you. All of the things that are bugging you right now, believe, whether you choose to believe me or not, I don't really care. This is how it plays out. I would say better than 90% of the things that are bothering you right now started between the ages of 0 to 5. Now, what's interesting is someone comes into you for a divorce that happened in their 30s. You go back, clear up the shit that happened when they were 0 to 5. The stuff from their 30s starts to go away, right? Like, because you pulled the root of the weed out rather than just taking the top off, right? And this is what we need to understand. The part of you that monitors all that information is your unconscious mind. and it doesn't do it in a linear way. So when it answers you, it will answer what it perceives to be true based on the most direct answer to your question. Always answers first. It always answers honestly. It always feels like you're making it up. You always have an urge to edit what just came up. It's never loud and it's never linear. You guys with me? Melissa says pain and held in back. Yeah, it doesn't. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's an emotional pain or a physical pain. Again, this is almost 20 years of clinical experience. Almost no case of pain I dealt with didn't have emotion into it. And when you dealt with the emotion, the pain went away. Emotion makes everything worse. Okay, now lest you start to believe that emotions are the enemy, emotions are not the enemy. They're a tool, they're a medium by which your system creates and imprints experiences. Okay. And again, Melissa's talking about manifested as a damaged disc. Yes, many times it can. Right. The interesting thing about, I'm talking about burns, I'm talking about broken limbs. You go in and you clear the emotional charge from those things, the lion's share of the discomfort diminishes. Right. Okay. Well, it's interesting. Melissa's asking about law of attraction. Here's something that most people don't want to hear, because a lot of people want to manifest good shit, right? Or they want to be better manifestors. Anybody here want to be a better manifester? Anybody? All of my clients were fantastic manifestors. Every single one. You know how I know? They wound up in my chair. They were just manifesting the wrong shit. The ability to manifest is a natural human faculty. The problem is the direction we're pointing in it, the things we're focusing on. Those people manifested things because of what they were not willing to express, what they were not willing to accept and transform. And so they kept denying it and distracting themselves and repeating and trying to do anything but run into it and pull it out until they couldn't run away anymore. So my question for you is, what are the things that make you want to run away? What are the things that you don't want to look at? What are the things you don't want to deal with? Those are the things that are causing all the other problems, right? I tell all my students that the people who come to Planet David are actually a little cut above the average human. Why is that? Because they feel the drive to self-actualize. They feel the drive to become more of what they're capable of being. And so they develop this ability, this understanding that you need to run as aggressively and enthusiastically towards things that make you want to run away as you do towards the things that give you pleasure. See, any animal can run towards pleasure and away from pain. Every animal on the planet does that. But it takes a conscious being, an aware being, to choose to run towards the things that every part of them is telling them to deny, repress, avoid, because they know on the other side of it, the act of going through that process is the fast track to liberation. Okay, that's not always the most popular message when I talk to people, but that's what it's about. So that being said, I have time before we go into part 2 of the webinar to give you one more technique. And what I'm going to do is, in part 3 of the webinar, we're going to circle back and we're going to focus on the specific application that you guys want to work on. Is that okay? Is that fair? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Now for this, I'm going to need you to close your eyes. All right. But I want you, again, do not do this. do not do this if you're operating a car, driving, or operating machinery. If you're doing anything that requires any level of full and undivided attention, even if it requires a piece of your attention, don't do this. Okay? Now, as I guide you through this process, I do not want you typing any responses in the chat until I tell you to do so. Stay in the process. Are you guys with me? Type it in the chat. See how well you follow instructions. Cool. Okay, good. All right. So here we go. All right. I want you to think of something. Well, actually, let's just do this. Close. I want you to go ahead and stand up if you can. Now, before you close your eyes, I want to visually represent what's happening here. I want you to feel yourself inside your body. Become aware of being in your body. Okay? Become aware of being in your body. Notice how it feels to be in your body. What's the sensations in your hands like? What's the sensations in your feet like? What's the sensations in your abdomen like? Become aware, be present fully in your body. And now what I want you to do is I want you to imagine, and you can close your eyes for this if you want, or you can watch the first example and then do it. I want you to imagine you could step outside of your body and look at yourself. Okay? Now allow your physical eyes to close. And now imagine as you're standing there looking at yourself, imagine you could step out of that version of yourself and look at yourself looking at your physical body. And take a few moments to just experience what that's like. Notice how the sensations shift and change as you step out of your physical body into that other body, and then step out of that body and look at that body looking at your physical body. And then what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that you could step out of that body and look at yourself, looking at yourself, looking at yourself, looking at your physical body. And I want you to notice with each layer, like an onion that you step out, the amount of sensation you're feeling from your physical body begins to shift and change until finally it goes away. And I want you to keep stepping out until there's no feeling, or as close to zero as you can get. When you've done that, I want you to observe that physical body from that last body you're in right now and see everything that it needs. Become aware of everything that needs to be dissolved and melted away. And if you could imagine a big syringe or a dropper or rain or a ladle pouring in everything that physical body needs. As you fill that physical body, what color is it? What are the attributes of it as it fills you up to exactly what you need? What would you need to remove? Would you reach in with a little claw or a little syringe and suck out what needs to be removed? And just pour in or sprinkle in or dribble in whatever needs to go into that physical body and extract whatever should be gone. Throw that into a fire, throw it off into the sun, whatever you want. When you've done that process, all I want you to do is step in to each of those bodies in the order and sequence that you stepped out until finally you're looking at that first one part of you that stepped out, and you're looking at your physical body. And when you're ready, step into that physical form and notice how the feelings in your body shift and change as all those things you added and subtracted activate, and you see the world through new eyes. Hear the world through new ears. Smell and taste. Feel the world through a mind, body, and soul completely integrated, balanced, and harmonized in all the ways that are most important to you, that you've decided make all the difference for you. When you're completely back into your physical body and all those things have been engaged, test it. Try to turn it off and notice what happens instead. When you're satisfied, stop testing and type in the chat what you experienced. Linus says clear and grounded at the same time. Sam Lovely says spike and good emotion. Julie says yes. Karen says feel empowered. Subtle yet noticeable shift. Interesting and balanced. Nice, much relief in caring less about what angered me. Body's warm. How about that? That's called Shengong, or spiritual skill. NLP would call it metastating or metaframing. Jules says confident, more caring about what I think about me. Perfect. Eddie says feel very, isn't that interesting? Brahm says feel a rush of energy, a little bit dizzy. Yeah, you might want to ground a little bit more, Brahm, just to make sure that body feels stronger and tighter. Very good. Not as angry. Is this useful? Affiliate marketing with William says, felt like I have a new body, especially my head area feels like a new head across. Excellent. Great shit. Yes. All right. I've just given you a bump key to a lot of powerful change work. Obviously, I can't tell you all the ins and outs and all the things that happen and why it works, but first me was judging, second me was curious, third me was impatient, fourth me was waiting for fun. There you go. Excellent. Perfect. All right. So I promised you guys that I would take you as far as I could in the time we have, and I'd point you in the direction of where to go to level your skills up and get access to everything. Are you guys ready for that step? Yes? Perfect. All right. So without further ado, let me shift gears here. And with your permission, I'd like to talk to you about a set of programs I put together just for you guys today. And this is the Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control Training for Success home study course. Now, everything I've taught you, with the exception of the last technique, is basic training for most of this program. This is going to take you from zero to hero. It's going to teach you step by step how to quickly help yourself to become more attractive to money, more attractive to other humans, to remove the blocks to your success, and become more financially, socially, and free in terms of your lifestyle. We're going to teach you how to remove the blocks to your life that you didn't even know you had, how to become more confident, how to help more people. I know that was a big deal for a lot of you, right? I want to show you how to do that in the most powerful and direct way imaginable. We're going to teach you how to move through the world automatically being more confident and help other people become more confident and become more powerful in every aspect of your life, right? So as a byproduct of this training, you're going to become more charming, charismatic, irresistible. You're going to become the kind of person you've always wanted to be, and stop being the person that everybody who raised you has an interest in keeping you stuck, is trying to convince you to stay, right? We're going to give you the chance to be the person you want to be instead of the person the world programmed you to be, right? So we put this together. This offer is good primarily for first-time buyers, and it expires as of 11:59 p.m. tonight, August 12th. You want to stay on to the end of the webinar because we are going to have a whole lot more interesting experiences together. So first and foremost, this is what you're going to start with as a byproduct of this training. You're going to get 14 videos, the 7-step identity by design program that I outlined earlier, removing the negativity that you didn't know you had, how to remove the unconscious safety rules. In other words, if something goes away and comes back, goes away and comes back, you keep dating the same person with a different face, you start a job and lose it, start a job and lose it, start a job and lose it. We're going to show you how those rules have been installed in you so you can begin to extract them, remove them, modify them, so you can move forward in life the way that you want to. We're going to teach you how to systematically remove the negative voices in your head that are holding you back. If you're wondering what voice I'm talking about, it's the voice in your head that just said, "What voice?" Right? And have it turn it from your harshest critic into your biggest raving fan and protector and guide and mentor. It's one of the most moving experiences that I've ever experienced, and the vast majority of people who've been through Identity by Design will tell you that there's usually not a dry eye in the house when we do this. It is completely life-changing, just that one drill. We're going to teach you how to install 4 pillars of personal power and success. There are 4 default driver states that we have discovered that allow people to move forward and stay in a positive mindset. That is victory, playfulness, curiosity, and relentlessness. And we're going to teach you how to install these as, think of it like presets. Like if I need to be in a certain state, I click a button and boom, the state's automatic. Now that's called an anchor in NLP, or a post-hypnotic suggestion in hypnosis. But what if we could install this in you in such a way that it was actually just your default, that was actually just how you move through the world naturally. And anytime you needed a little spiritual boost, you just said your magic word, rubbed your magic jewelry, and boom, all of a sudden you get a super dose of that state, instant and on commands. But what if we could sanitize all the negativity from your past, all the traumas, all the crap that you've been fed, all the limiting beliefs, drain the energy out of those, break up those memories, have them blow away like dust in the wind, take that energy and inject it into all of your most powerful, positive, and empowering memories, so that not only when you look back on the past, you remember it in ways that only make your life better, the force and the magnitude of those memories comes barreling through your life and energizes your system. That's what we're going to show you how to do. Okay. What if we could teach you how to borrow and install the genius, skills, and abilities of people who you admire, people who you aspire to be more like, teach you through a process of deep trance identification, how to imprint those skills and qualities and attitudes and beliefs into your life and into your body, so that they take root like a tree taking root, and you can actually embody those skills and perform them as close to or gain that level of skill faster than just trying to learn it from a video or a book or whatever. If you've ever read a book called The Alter Ego Effect, or the Rykov Effect, this is similar to those ideas, but we're a little bit more direct with it. If you've ever seen my video, Captain Jack the Hypnotist, you see me actually doing deep trance identification while I'm guiding somebody through deep trance identification. It's pretty cool. I've used this myself personally on many occasions, and it just works. Okay. And we're going to teach you how to do instant and rapid inductions. We're going to teach you how to evaluate people. We're going to teach you how to create affirmations that have a highest probability of sticking, how to eliminate pain, fear, and suffering in minutes, and much, much more. It comes with a very big manual. And an online community where you can hang out and talk to people about these things. Total value on this is $2,497, obviously, but obviously we're not going to just bag it. It's fully worth it at twice the price, but we're going to go further. We're going to give you a bunch of extra bonuses that I think will really make this a slam dunk for you. I think it'll really supercharge your life. And I know for a fact that if you apply these skills to yourself, you'll never go back to being the same way again. Everything in your life will shift for weeks. We're also going to include these special bonuses the moment you click the link and reserve your space for the Reprogram Your Subconscious Mind Secrets of Ultra Mind Control Training Techniques. The first is going to be our Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study course. Now, this takes the personality transformation technology that we've just shared with you in the previous slide, and it gives you a bunch more tools and skill sets for monetizing this particular set. So this will allow you to go out and actually do this process that you learn in personality transformation with other people as part of your coaching practice, part of your healing practice. If you're a hypnotherapist, the techniques in this course are absolutely unstoppable. I'm going to let you in on a fun factoid. The swim teams in the Olympics use this course. One of the hypnotists or the hypnotherapist for the U.S. Olympic team, Joni Nady, is actually one of my students, and she uses a ton of these techniques with those athletes. She's been using them now for almost 12 years. Okay, so it's again, I don't normally say that, but it's the truth. That's the level of power that these skill sets have. Okay, and once again, we're gonna teach you. I can't read my own slide here, so I got to read these things for you. We're going to teach you systematically how to resolve the negativity that people don't even know they have. We're going to teach you how to remove all the recurring problems in their life. In other words, maybe they have a back pain. They go to the chiropractor. By the time they get home, the pain is back. Right? Maybe there's an emotional reason why. We'll teach you how to go in using a special technique. In fact, we're going to probably revisit that technique a little bit in part 3 of today's webinar. We'll show you how to remove the safety lessons that are keeping things locked in place, locked in the body, and tell you how to get rid of them once and for all. We're going to teach you how to clear up issues that just don't seem to go away, how to resolve negativity from your past, how to install the traits, qualities, and characteristics of people you truly like and admire. We're going to teach you aspects of conversational hypnosis, how to evaluate a client and convert them from a prospect to a paying client in as little as 30 minutes with about a 90% conversion rate. It's something that's just works for our people big time. We're going to teach you about instant and rapid hypnotic inductions, what to do when things go wrong, when you're working with a client and all of a sudden, you're looking for Bambi and all of a sudden Godzilla comes out and you don't know how to deal with that emotional state or how to put that genie back in the bottle. It's a fear that a lot of hypnotherapists have because their training doesn't cover it beyond telling them how to say, and the scene fades and you tend to your breathing. If that was the sum total of how to deal with hyper volatile emotional states, then you need this course more than anyone, because it's not a question of when those things happen. It's a question of, or it's not a question of if those things happen. It's a question of when. So this course is probably one of the best courses for preparing you in terms of inner game, outer game, a full spectrum of techniques that will completely transform your clients like nothing you've ever seen in the shortest amount of time possible. It's a $1,497 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free because we want you to get the biggest benefit from this. Yes, I know a lot of you are here to fix your own stuff, but a lot of you are also therapists, you're coaches, you're healers. You have a desire to help people. And I promise you, this is the most powerful skill set you will ever use in your practice. This is one of the reasons why we're giving it to you, because you can build your business and help more people with this. You got to help yourself first. That's why we talk about personality transformation. But at the end of the day, you want to reach more people, this is how you do it. So total combined value between the personality transformation program and the identity by design program is $2,994, but we're not done yet. A lot of you are big into manifestation. Usually, I would call people who are into manifestation are what I call reprogram your subconscious mind adjacent. And so in this course, we're going to show you how to take the identity by design techniques and that silo, and how to unlock the power of your subconscious mind to manifest things that you want in the shortest amount of time possible. How to find and remove blocks to your manifestation, health, wealth, and success and happiness programs that you didn't even know you had. How to become a money magnet. We're going to talk about, I think in this one, we also include like the core limiting beliefs that most people have regarding money and how to deal with those. How to influence people remotely. This is, again, a little bit more gray hat area, but it's something that if you studied a Silva mind control course or something like that, you could learn how to do it as well. We're going to teach you how to do this in a positive, ethical way that keeps you on the side of the angels. All right. We're going to teach you one of the most powerful ways to give yourself suggestions and affirmations ever, a way that's completely in alignment with how your nervous system wants to be communicated with. And when you do this properly, it can actually allow you to circumvent all the negative beliefs you would have to get rid of in order to manifest the things you want. It's literally one of the most powerful techniques I've ever experienced. And I'm not just saying that because I came up with it, because I didn't come up with it directly. I was inspired by it by watching a couple other people doing some stuff and said, well, what if we did it this way? And I tried it, and all of a sudden, holy shit, Batman, like it was somebody turned on the nitrous to my nervous system. When I started teaching this to the general public, it generated so much power, so much amplitude, and so much manifestation mojo that we just could not use it. So this is another thing that you're going to learn. We're going to teach you how to attract the things you want and change what you deserve. So we'll teach you how to manifest things you want, and even if you don't think you deserve it, that's what's kind of cool. Right? There's actually a way to do that. We're going to teach you to install the traits, qualities, and characteristics of people who are naturally lucky. And we all met them. We've met people that if they stepped in a pile of poop on the street, when they went to clean their shoe off, they'd find a diamond ring in the poop, right? We've met people that if a plane were flying overhead carrying a safe filled with like $20 million and that cargo bay opened and the safe fell out and it opened on the way down, the money would fall in their sunroof. And the safe would fall on mine or somebody else's car, right? We've all met people like that who can turn lemons into lemonade at the drop of a hat, that turn setbacks or stumbling blocks into stepping stones. Turns out that there's actually a set of psycho-emotional, psychological attributes and characteristics that these people have in a certain proportion, in abundance, that causes them to move through the world magnetized and sensitized to lucky events. And if you know what those are, and you have the right technology, identity by design, you can install and amplify those traits in yourself. And that's what we're going to do with this program. We're going to give you those traits. We're going to give you the methodology for installing it. And we're going to walk you through it, either through the personality transformation program, the identity by design program. You will become an expert in how to do this. Okay. And then, of course, I'll teach you probably the most powerful manifestation technique. And I know a lot of them, guys. The most powerful manifestation technique on the planet. And you'll actually, if you follow along with the videos, you'll actually change the material substance of water as a byproduct of the training. Okay. I've used it to manifest patently impossible things. And it just took a little longer than the hard stuff. Okay. So we're going to give you this for free. It's a $1,497 value. Total combined value here is $5,491. So think about what we're giving you. Think about what you were able to do in just a few minutes of guidance in part one of this webinar. What will you be able to do when you've got hours and hours and hours of guidance and instruction by me on these techniques and so much more? What are you going to be capable of? Think about that. Imagine it for a moment before you click that link, right? The next thing we're going to talk about, and people might ask, well, David, if this is about how to reprogram your subconscious mind, why the heck are you giving me a course on conversation hypnosis? It's real simple, because you've got to have outer game to match your inner game. So let me explain this. What we've taught you to do with the first 2 or 3 programs is how to control and influence your subconscious mind, how to change your belief system, how to change your reality, how to change how you communicate with all those different divisions. But here's the thing. You have to be able to communicate with the nervous systems outside of yourself as well. So when I was putting this program together, I was asking, okay, I've got them pretty much handled on the inner game side, the reprogramming their subconscious mind. How do I make them unstoppable? Well, you've got to teach people the ultimate survival skill, influence and persuasion. Now, this is the most ethical, powerful, and honest way to deal with people ever. And if you just adopt the principles here, people will love you everywhere you go, because you're going to move through the world making them feel ridiculously good, and they will just want to do stuff for you. It will teach you how to bond the things people most emotionally want and need to the things you want them to do in such a way that they feel absolutely compelled for their own selfish reasons to do it. Now, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, remember the very first exercise that I ran you guys through at the beginning of this webinar? What do you want to get as a byproduct of tonight's training? What's that going to do for you? What's important about that? What I did with you is exactly what I'm teaching you how to do in greater, more powerful detail here, so that you can create that level of desire and drive to do what you want them to do in anyone you meet. Okay? We'll teach you how to hypnotize in normal conversations, anyone, anytime, anywhere, how to emotionally connect and bond with everyone you meet so that they just love you and feel connected and trust you. We're going to teach you how to control your emotions and use them as influence tools. But not only that, we're going to teach you how to become unflappable, how to control your emotions to such a degree that nobody can push your buttons or break your state for very long ever again. Okay? It's probably one of the most important psycho-emotional survival skills we have there. It's also one of our most powerful influence tools. We're going to teach you step by step how to do this. I want to teach you the 7 most powerful language patterns that exist, why they're so powerful, and how you can start using them right away to direct people's focus of attention, make anything you want, cause anything you want in their world, make anything you want mean anything you want in their world, and of course, to generate mental imagery in the minds of your listeners and subjects so powerful, so compelling, that they just nod their head yes and do what you ask them to do. Okay, all in an ethical, honest, non-manipulative, deceptive, or coercive way. It's completely ethical, honest, and you go to bed feeling good about yourself, knowing that you gave people one of the best experiences ever. Obviously, we're going to teach you how to do deeper levels of emotional bonding and how to weave that into powerful, compelling narratives that people just become lost in. And this works for any form of communication. So it can work in text, chats, emails, Zooms, public speaking, one-on-one speaking, any place language is involved. This is a game changer for you. This will give you the ability to walk into any job interview, performance review, and just nail it every single time. I did a training just last weekend. I had a recruiter in there. He watched this happen, and I had two other business owners in there. They're like, oh my God, this is a true game changer. So if you're stuck in a job you hate and you want ways to have more options, when would now be a good time when the link comes available to reserve your spot and get this. But we're not done yet. What if you, so the total value on this, by the way, is $1,950. We're going to give this to you absolutely free. Okay. Why? Because we want you to have everything you need. Okay. Each of these trainings in and of itself are completely life-changing. When you stack them together in the way that we're packaging this for you, you are going to become unstoppable. Think about everything that you talked about at the beginning of this webinar and 10x it. And believe me when I say, if you apply this the way we're teaching you, I am understating what's possible for you. Now, remember, I'm good at what I do. These courses are amazing, but I can't multiply zeros. If you don't get off your butt and actually do something with the course, which implies that you're going to actually get the course, right? I can't help you, but I will be in your corner the whole time. As you're going through this process, step by step by step, if you have a question, if you have a sticking point, all you got to do is pick up the phone. You'll either talk to me, you'll talk to Moss, you'll talk to Mia, or if you know, and we'll walk you through whatever stumbling points that you have. Okay, we want you to win, right? We want you to win. Total combined value in this is $7,441. Last but not least, this is something that I think is very relevant. Because things happen, right? How many people want to change limiting beliefs? If you want to change limiting beliefs, type in the chat, right? If you want to overcome objections or win arguments, if you're tired of being manipulated and picked on, type "that's for me" in the chat. Okay, then this is the course you want. This is the capstone. This is the one that is your get out of jail free card. Anytime anything else goes south, you whip this out, things are going to change. This is called renegade reframing. This is how to rapidly change any belief and overcome any objection in minutes. Actually, I'm actually lying. It's actually seconds, but we'll say minutes just to be truth in advertising, kind of, so people get all in an uproar. So think about this for a moment. What if for every conceivable limiting belief that you have, for every single excuse somebody might give you for not doing what you want them to do, what if for every single objection or argument you found yourself in, anytime you wanted to, you had at least 14 different ways to solve that problem? What would that do for your life? If anytime somebody spewed a limiting belief at you or an objection, you had 14 ways to overcome it in seconds. What would that do? How many times would you get from no to yes? Right? What if for every limiting belief you were aware of, you had 14 ways to change it instantly? Because that is what this course will do. This course is based on a series of patterns from the NLP world known as sleight of mouth. Many years ago, a researcher by the name of Robert Dilts observed Richard Bandler verbally sparring with his master practitioners and practitioner level trainees. And they would try to meta-model him and get him to change his beliefs or step out of his delusion, so to speak, that he was role-playing. And he would expertly, over and over and over again, use these 14 frames to beat them into the dust. Now, Robert's very, very intelligent guy, very talented guy, and he took these patterns and he created a series of books called Sleight of Mouth. Unfortunately, or depending on how you look at it, fortunately for me, the way that Robert is very, very intelligent. The guy, just reading this stuff makes me feel stupid, right? The stuff is, for many years, that stuff was largely impenetrable. Most people couldn't figure out how to make it work. Then some guys like Doug O'Brien, Harlan Kilstein put out a course as well. And eventually I got a hold of this material and I looked at it and I was like, how do we make this fun? How do we make this easy? How do we make this absolutely bulletproof? And I sat down and it took me 3 or 4 trainings to figure it out. And I finally came up with some ideas. And so I created this program called Renegade Reframing. And it's the 14 core patterns of the sleight of mouth from NLP, taught in a very fun, gamey way. There's even a card game in the manual that you can print out and use to drill yourself on these patterns and have a lot of fun. There's templates, there's examples that you can fill in the blanks and really internalize this material. And once you have it, there is no objection, there is no belief. Michael wrote, are these my language patterns? They're my approach to the sleight of mouth patterns, Michael. So it's my version of an older, more harder to use technology. I love it. It's one of the most fun classes to teach because you get into these sparring matches with people and it just escalates and you just keep reframing the reframe and reframing the reframe. So when I say language patterns, are these the things I'm talking about? These are a type of language pattern. But each of the courses that you'll be exposed, each of the courses you'll be going through will have a different set of language patterns for specific applications. If you're talking about the hard, like the 21 most powerful words in the human language video, those would be the ones we teach in CPI, Stealth CPI. These are advanced language patterns you use when everything else doesn't work, right? You've forgotten to elicit somebody's values, or you're doing a features and benefits presentation and all of a sudden they hit you with a money objection. You can use any of these 14 patterns to overcome that objection and get them to say yes, right? If let's say that you want to go and audition for a show, but you've got all these beliefs that say you're not good enough, that people will laugh at you, you write those down, you start you start reframing that belief with these patterns in writing, and you can't go back to the old belief anymore. So these are super, these are what we would call the save your ass patterns, right? Because, but it really, you only need them if something goes really wonky. If you just follow the Stealth CPI diagram, you get your outcome 99% of the time. But every now and then something weird's going to happen. You're going to forget a step. You're going to miss something in their values or their criteria, and then you whip this out and it gets you back to winning. It's a $1,950 value. Please pardon the jet flying overhead. They're flying in from everywhere to get this thing. It's a $1,950 value. We're going to give this to you free. Why? Because we want you to be ready. We talked about how to change limiting. Yeah, I'm in Delmar, Michael. We talked about all these limiting beliefs. We talked about all these different ways to approach beliefs. We gave you 3 or 4 techniques right up front, right at the beginning of this webinar. There's a whole system here. And then there's a system behind the system. This is how you get everything. This is how you get everything you want in life, and you just keep getting better, right? Overcome any objection, win any argument, change any belief in minutes, even your own. Total combined value on this is $9,391 if you register before the end of the webinar, okay? So let's just review what we've got really quick. You're going to get 14 videos plus the manual and teaching you the entire 7-stage identity by design process designed to help you change yourself. $2,497 value. You're going to get the real world hypnosis identity by design hypnotherapy certification home study course, $1,497 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. You're going to get the hidden laws of attraction, mind magic, and manifestation masterclass, $1,497 value. We're going to give that to you free. We're going to give you the Stealth CPI Level 1 Universal Persuasion Protocol. This is an absolute game changer. Okay, some of the biggest names in the persuasion and influence world have studied this material. Okay, when I went to the NLP certifications back in 2012, their trainers were taking notes from me because I was using this. So that's the first time I ever told anybody that outside of my private trainings, but it is true. $1,950 value. We're going to give this to you free. And then, of course, the cherry on the sundae, how to overcome any objection or change any belief in normal conversation in minutes. Renegade Reframing, it's a $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you 100% free if you're one of the next people to click that link. The total value on this is $9,391. Now, obviously, we're not going to charge you $9,391, although it's actually worth more than that. But what I do want to do is I want to make this easy for you. I want to give you the best deal humanly possible. So here's what's going to happen. We're not going to start with $93.91. We're not even going to go to $63. are $53.43. That's better than half price. What we're going to do is we're going to go all the way down to $23.47 for everything. No, we're not even going to do that. You can get it all now for just one low installment of $997, or if you need to, you can break it. Now, remember, this is for first-time buyers only. If you've bought our programs in the past, we do have a discount available for you. I have a separate program. I need to just reach out to Moss at 858-282-4663 or Mia at nlppower.com. If Mia and Moss can post that information in the chat. If you have questions regarding second-time buyers and stuff like that, programs available for you, by all means, reach out to them and they'll go over that. So you can break that into 3 easy installments of just $397. All you got to do to get yours right now is click this link, right? Go to nlppower.com/mind. Click the link before it's too late. Click the link, click the link, click the link. Get started on reprogramming your subconscious mind and using those skills to move through the world, helping everybody you want. Let me repeat that. Moving through the world, getting yourself everything you want by helping everybody else get what they want. It's the most win-win system on the planet. And we have lots of veterans in the chat that know exactly what I'm talking about. Click this link right now. And for those of you who are early adopters, and by the way, for those of you, if you've bought this program in the past, we will allow you to substitute a course of equal or lesser value. So if you've got Stealth CPI already, but you want to get maybe CPI 2 or CPI 4, as long as the price points match, we can customize the package for you. All you got to do is give Moss or me a call or an email, and we'll get that handled for you. Okay? But there's more. So go ahead and click the links, www.nlppower.com/mind. Now, but David, how do I know this will work for me? I promise you it will work for you if you do the work. But you have nothing to risk, because you can try this for 60 days. And if at the end of 60 days, you're not on the fast track to removing the blocks to your success, if you're not creating a wealth mindset or the kind of mindset that you really want, if you're not becoming more magnetically attractive, if you're not in the fast track to manifesting the life of your dreams, eliminating fear, self-sabotage, blocks to your success in whatever point or in whatever way that manifests, if you're not feeling more confident and powerful and secure with your life, I'll refund your money. If it doesn't do what I'm telling you it can do, as long as you do the work, I'll give you your money back. Because if it doesn't work for you, I want you to find something that does. So try it for 59 days. If on the day 59 you decide that it's not living up to what we're telling you, and we've undersold this, by the way, I'll refund every dime. And you can even keep the courses you've downloaded as my gift to you for giving it a shot. But give us a shot, right? Give us a chance to give you access to this material. Give us a chance. If you have sticking points, give us the chance to help you through those and manifest and become the person you truly want to be. Everything has a little bit of a learning curve. We've done everything we can to minimize that for you. But you've got to decide that you deserve it. You've got to decide that you're going to do the steps necessary to manifest the life of your dreams. And the best part about this technology, even though it's about reprogramming your subconscious mind, you don't have to believe in 90% of this for it to work for you. We've taken a lot of times to distill this down into mechanical steps. Michael's saying, can I do it as an in-person, do an in-person in a separate package? Yes, if you would like to customize a package, reach out to Moss directly, tell him what you want, and if it's feasible for us to do that for you, we're happy to do that. Okay, we're very flexible because we want to help, right? But investment has to go both ways. I can't invest in you until you invest in me, right? And I'm going to give you as much as I can, and I'm going to share with you as much as I can. But at the end of the day, no one's coming to save you except you. I'll show you how to do that. But you got to step up. This isn't for everybody. Only the people who are ready for change. Only the people who are ready to stop kicking tires and start getting in the game. Okay, I love you all, but I'm going to tell you it like it is. I'm not going to bullshit you. Right? Click that link right now. www.nlppower.com/mind. Click the link, click the link, click the link before it's too late. For those of you who are on the fence a little bit, but want a little bit more juice, a little bit more mojo, if you click this link right now, before I log off the webinar tonight, now this is important. The things I'm going to talk about next are only for fast action or for fast starters, people who want the biggest bang for their buck, but it's also only available as long as I'm physically on the webinar tonight. Okay? The moment I log off the webinar, the bonuses I'm about to share with you go away. You can still get the earlier package that I just talked about, but these bonuses are only good if you click this link now while I'm on the seminar. The moment I log off, the page is going to change. Okay? And you won't be able to get this. So here's what we got for you. Click that link right now. You'll get these fast action bonuses. First and foremost, you're going to get 3 months of hands-on group mentoring with me. The NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program is a hands-on training program. It's one where you log in from wherever you're at in the world, or if you're local, many times we'll open the NLP office, let you come in and do the mastermind in person. So you can train personally with me. You'll not get a certificate from this program. What you will get is something even more important, an opportunity to practice in real time with real people, with people who want to learn the same things you want to learn, get feedback from me, specialized drills from me. So basically the way it works, you log in or you show up and I say, hey, Rob, what do you want to learn? Wendy, what do you want to learn? TJ, what do you want to learn? Lottie, what do you want to learn? Right? Kevin, Michael, what do you want to learn? I write those down on the board. And then I step back and I look at all the connecting, I look and find all the connecting threads. I create a lesson plan for you on the spot. And for the next 4.5, 5 hours, 6 hours, I drill you guys on those techniques specifically until you can do them in your sleep. It's a hands-on skill building workshop. It's the longest running NLP practice and training group in the world. It's been running nonstop, month after month, since October of 2010. We have videotaped every single one of those sessions and archived them on the NLP Power website, on our private YouTube channel, and parts of it are in our private Facebook group. As a bona fide card-carrying member of the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Group, you will have access to the entire 13-year archive. And it covers everything from how to reprogram your subconscious mind, overcome limiting beliefs, reduce trauma, manifestation, advanced persuasion and influence tactics, mind control techniques, energy healing, remote influence, remote healing, face reading, body language, behavioral entrainment, performance enhancement, learning, you name it. If it involves the mind and the body working together, it's in that program. Every application is available, from seduction to marketing to therapy to manifestation, any form of coaching you can think of. Now, I will warn you up front, because these videos and these meetings are all member driven, there's a lot of repetition from one class to the next because a lot of people have the same question. Right? They have the same question. So a lot of the material keeps coming up, but every now and then you get one that's really cool, that's unique, right? So that's about the only drawback to this master. Now, the other thing about the video archive is that 99% of it is virgin. It's never been in a product. It's never been on our public access YouTube channel. It's never been in our private access YouTube channel, right? This is completely new material, and we have at least as much material in the 13-year archive as we do on our YouTube channel. But this is stuff nobody's ever seen. So as for the next 3 months, you can log in on the third Saturday of every month, do the hands-on practice, and binge watch 13 years of video content that nobody else has ever seen. Okay, it's a $1,597 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free if you're one of the next 21 people to click this link before I log off the webinar. Remember, first-time buyers only. Okay, total combined value on this offer now is $10,078. But you know what? I'm not done yet, folks. Because if you act right now, I'm going to give you one of the courses I'm most proud of. This is the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course. This course is probably responsible for more people's success with conversational hypnosis out in the field than probably any other downloadable program I've ever offered. It comes with a full set of videos on conversational hypnosis, manuals, MP3s, transcripts, and this is designed to take you from zero to hero in a couple of hours. It's designed for people who want to learn hypnosis now so you can practice it tomorrow. It's completely streamed down to just the essentials. There's at least 2 videos there on the most powerful conversational notions language patterns that exist. There's a 4 videos, or 4, I think it's either 4 to 6 video set of me teaching those in one of my private meetups. It's one of the best meetups we've ever done on those language patterns. There's a course called Anchors in Action, which is all about how to use anchoring to set and create state control on demand. There's another one called Hypnotic Hot Buttons, which is all about getting people emotionally fired up and wanting to do what you just said you want to do. There's even a video in there on instant and rapid inductions. You watch that video, it's like 90 minutes, 2 hours, and you have like 7 or 8 different instant and rapid inductions you can just go out and play with out in the field. And there's a whole lot more in there, right? Total value on this is $997. We're going to give this to you free because we want you to get a fast start. We want you to get out there into the field, and we want you to put this stuff to work. And the faster you start, the more fun you have, the more successful you're going to be. And that's the secret. Be as playful with this material as humanly possible. Go out and just take one piece and play with it and watch what happens. Okay? Total combined value on this is $11,075. But we have one more super amazing bonus for you. And this is the one that's probably, if nothing else, this will change your life too. Right? And this is our Secrets of Self-Transformation Virtual Healing Retreat. This is coming up November 8th through the 10th. And what this is you get to be in a group mentoring session with me for 3 solid days, where we're literally going to help you eliminate self-sabotage. We're going to teach you how to overcome the blocks to your success, how to remove physical and emotional pain. This is not a training that you're going to get certified in. This is you as part of a group mentoring process where when I use my skills to guide you through one healing process after another, after another, after another for 3 solid days. This is David helping you fix your stuff. So we'll remove blocks and limiting beliefs, find and remove all the hidden negativity that you didn't know you had, how to clear up issues that just don't seem to go away, how to change that crappy voice in your head so that it builds you up instead of tearing you down, how to resolve negativity from your past, how to get in touch with your true self, reprogram your subconscious mind for the most powerful and a joyful life imaginable. This is me working with a small group of people, deep dive into your unconscious for 3 solid days. If anybody on the video or on the call has been through the Healing Intensive, type in your experience from the last one. This is, again, you can attend this from the privacy of your own home, November 8th through the 10th. We limit this to about 30 people just to make sure that everybody gets the attention they need. I usually have 3 to 4 of my top level students there to help you if something comes up that's you need a little bit more one-on-one attention, one-on-one personalized therapeutic interventions or something like that. They're there to help. Otherwise, it's all you and me, baby, for 3 straight days. Total value on this is $2,497, and you get me, but it's yours for free. If you're one of the next people to click that link, total combined value on this is $13,500 and oops, sorry. Where'd it go? $13,572. So let's just review this really quick. Here's what you're getting. You get the Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control Training Home Study Course and Manual, valued at $2,497. We're going to give you the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Program, valued at $1,497. We're going to give that to you for free, right? Because we want you to get the biggest bang for your buck, right? Maybe you don't plan on seeing clients now, but you might. What if after you fixed all your shit, you realize, hey, I can help other people with this? Now you've got the tools, right? We're going to give you Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation Mastery Home Study Course. This is where you take all the Identity by Design training and apply it to amplifying your manifestation skills beyond the pale of what you even think is remotely possible. It's a $1,497 value. We're going to give it to you free. We're going to give you the Stealth CPI Universal Persuasion Protocol Home Study Course. This is the flagship influence program that changed everything. A $1,950 value. We're going to give this to you for free. And then we're going to put the cherry on the sundae with that, the Renegade Reframing Overcoming Objections and Conversational Belief Change Home Study Course. $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you 100% free as part of this program. And of course, you get the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course. So you can download it tonight, start hypnotizing people tomorrow or even sooner. It's a $997 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. And finally, to make sure that you've got the tools and the skills and the changes you want to make, I'm going to give you 3 days in a group one-on-one session with me with the Self-Transformation Virtual Healing Intensive. This is a limited time only offer. It's a $2,497 value. It's going to be November 8th through the 10th. You can attend it from the comfort and privacy of your own home. Total value on this is $13,572. You can get it all for one installment of just $997. Now, just to give you some idea, a one-on-one session with me is $3,000. Okay, you can get the session plus everything else I've talked about to support you for one installment of $997. It's a $13,572 value. All you got to do is click that link right now. You can break that up into 3 easy installments of just $397. Just go to www.nlppower.com/mind. Click the link, click the link, click the link, and we'll get you started. We'll get you going. Moss and me are on standby. Go ahead and guys, put those links back in for the folks, the good folks at home, the good folks abroad. We're going to take a 7-minute break for you guys to kind of get that handled. And then we're going to come back. We're going to pick up with part 3. We're going to pick up where we left off in part 1. And we're going to start clearing more stuff. But we're going to clear the stuff or install the stuff that you want installed or cleared. We're going to focus on, we're going to take some vote as a group, and we're going to focus on those applications. So you got about 7 minutes, 6 minutes now. We'll see you at 5:57, I guess, my time. All right, see you in a minute.
Okay, folks, we've got a few minutes till the break's completed. So I've gotten back from my break early. So if anybody has questions or would like to put some suggestions in for where they'd like to go or focus on next with part 3 of tonight's webinar, I am open to that. I'm opening up the chats. Pardon me, and we'll see. All right. So Julie Paul's like, Orderman wants to start with Renegade Reframing. It wants me to take level 1 and 2. Which ones are those? So Julie, the good news is you don't need 1 and 2. If you want to do Renegade Reframing, you have to, all of our influence programs, you either have to take Killer Influence or you have to take CPI. Stealth CPI qualifies as level 1. So if you get that course, then you can do Renegade Reframing, no problem. Yeah. One of the things I want to talk about really quick, well, I think I mentioned this, but I want to cover a little bit more in depth. Let's say you've taken advantage of a similar program like this in the past, right? And you see a lot of duplicates, like you have a lot of this stuff already. If you let Moss know that you've purchased in the past, he'll help you customize a program for you. We're trying to emphasize this particular offer for first-time buyers, but if some of you already have some of these courses, we will let you substitute a course of equal or lesser value, so that you don't have duplication in your website. All of these are digital downloads. You can access them instantly upon your purchase. At least that's what my tech people tell me. So yeah, Stealth CPI for sure. I don't usually tell people. I mentioned this from time to time, but I'll be upfront with you. I didn't create most of these programs for you guys. I created most of these programs for me because I had a lot of problems and a lot of challenges growing up and in my early adult life that I needed solutions for. And I went to a lot of seminars. I paid a lot of money. I ate a lot of crow to find the pure solid gold nuggets that are distilled into these programs for you. And I developed them for me, and I started finding answers to a lot of the questions that I had. But Stealth CPI in particular is something that will always be special to me. The original program, CPI, that program changed everything for me. One of the things I discovered early on is, aside from the inner game, in other words, your set of beliefs and attitudes, and how you think about yourself and what you feel you deserve, those are all really, really important. But the big piece is, how do you communicate that, or how do you communicate and influence the world around you? And so one of the things that I kept running into over and over and over again was how important the ability to influence and wield precise communications was. And so I realized, my Snyder sense went off, metaphorically speaking, and I realized where there's smoke, there's fire. And I committed myself to becoming a master of that art form and that science.
And those materials, the things, the learnings that became Stealth CPI, they paved my entire way through my undergraduate education. Aside from being a top salesman in every company I worked for, they literally paid my way through my undergraduate education on writing scholarships. I was the only work study with his own office. I was given scholarship after scholarship after scholarship. I won't tell you how. All I will say is that English professors love hypnotic language. Okay. I gained one post after another extracurricularly. I graduated with honors in business. I didn't apply for the honors program. They just gave it to me. Okay. There were so many things, not to mention my social life. There were so many things that the core skills of Stealth CPI allowed me to do. But I wouldn't have been able to do those if I hadn't been able to get my head right. And my head wasn't nearly as right then it is now. So you don't need to be like perfect to be able to do this. But the way they work together is absolutely miraculous, if I could use that word. But if I were to give you the whole list of all the things that set of skills, that one set of skills has done for me and my students, I could fill books with it, and I really encourage you to invest in yourself on this, right? Even if you go to the, and again, my staff is about to freak out, but even if you just went to the NLP Barros and just bought Stealth CPI and Transformation without the package, right? And focused on those, that will change your life if you do it. Now you can get it all plus that for the package that we're giving, but if you just want to, if I had to give you the minimalist approach, right? So by all means, do what you have to do to justify clicking that link and getting this program for yourself, because we're here for you. But we can't multiply zeros, right? We give you tons of free content on the channel because we want to prove to you that this shit's real. That it's not just something that we paid a bunch of actors to do. This is the real thing. And you can get real results if you follow the process. Okay. That being said, our break is officially over, I think. Our break is officially over. And I want to continue into part 3 of today's webinar, which is all about applications. So what I'd like to ask you guys right now is, what do you want to focus on for the last part of our webinar, our time together? What is it you most want to learn about and apply these skill sets towards? Now remember, it's a group vote, so majority wins. Right? Obviously, I can't do everything. But go ahead and type in the chat what you want to focus on. Visualization of goals. Okay. What else you got? Go ahead. This is the time to speak up. Cool Guy is asking, can we switch the live program for another live program? Yes. You can swap programs as long as the tuition is of equal or lesser value. So we have no problem with substitutions. You just got to let us know so we can change our records. Let's see here. How to feel better about myself in social settings. Okay. Money. Working with traumas. Okay. Energetic cause of ovarian cancer. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about Edie's question really quickly. Remember that the ovaries tend to hold on to rage and fear, sometimes grief. So it wouldn't surprise me if we regress to cause, if there wasn't something along those lines that came up. Now everybody's different, but the patterns from both my energetic training, as well as my hypnosis and NLP clinical experience, it's always some kind of rage and anger and grief locked into those tissues. Okay. Again, what you'll see a lot of times with colon cancer is bitterness, anger, and resentment. bitterness, disappointment, resentment. Yeah, almost all of your cancers are related to anger in some way. Okay. Again, I'm generalizing big time because everybody's different. You know, when you start unpacking that shell, you'd be surprised sometimes what comes up. You really will. But the one thing I can tell you is that every time we've broken that shell and gotten to those emotional cores, the symptoms abated rapidly. We don't, again, I haven't worked with every single human being on the planet, so take that for what it's worth. But it's been my experience that the sooner we get to the emotional core of an illness, whether it's an emotional or behavioral one or a physiological one, the more rapidly it resolves. Is there any risk when working with someone with a traumatic past to make it worse? It depends on the trauma and what you're using and the level of training. Certainly we won't take we vet our clients really, really carefully. And so we won't take a client that we think this would be a bad thing for, right? We'll refer out. But by and large, if you're competently trained, no, you come out way better than you went in 99.99% of the cases. In fact, I don't think I've ever had anybody come out worse ever, right? So take that for what it's worth. But you got to remember, I'm talking about my experience. There's one of the problems that we have, and it's something that is a point of contention with many hypnosis schools and things like that, is there's no quality control in the industry, right? You can go to a bookstore tomorrow, pick up a book, and hang up your shingle as a hypnotherapist. And there's not, at least in the United States, there's not anybody who can say otherwise. So it's important that you check into the people and you trust the people and the training of the people you're going to. I've had many occasions where the mistakes or the screw ups from another therapist wound up in my office, and I had to fix the stuff they made worse. Right. This is why when you come to our live events, this is why we make your training as comprehensive as possible. There's very few trainings that will teach you to deal with the stuff we teach you to deal with, because we know what's out there, and we want you as a practitioner to be ready, right? So if you're working with me or some people that are who I refer to, I have the highest level of confidence in them. I really do. And if they're ethical and honest enough to know if it's something outside of their expertise level, to refer to me. Right. So that being said, okay. So we're looking at money, working with traumas, money. All right. I see 2 monies and a little bit of trauma. Does that sound about right for you guys? Is that where you want to go? All right. So let's be very clear. We start talking about traumas. Attending this webinar does not qualify you to go do trauma work. It doesn't certify you to go out and hang up a shingle saying, I can fix your shit. Okay. This webinar is primarily to teach you some skills that you can apply to yourself. And once you gain a certain level of competence in them, you can use them to help your family. If you grab that whole package and you see clients, you can integrate these skill sets into your day-to-day client work and have amazing transformations in people. Okay. So when we talk about money, what is it that's holding us back? Or what is it let's start with, what do we want? We talk about money. Obviously we want money, but what is it about money that's important to us? Remember that question? What's money going to do for us? Freedom. Okay. And if you had the money that got you that freedom, TI, what's important about that? What would that do? And by the way, that's not that it's an editorial question, so you don't have to be tied to answer it. If this is a thing for you, go ahead and type your answer in the chat. Okay. So let's see, travel, make my own decisions. Okay. I could focus on something else. Yeah, money tends to dominate our thoughts when there's a lack of it, huh? Or what we perceive to be potentially getting more. Okay. Anybody else? No, this is the interactive portion of the webinar. Feel good and at ease? Oh. So Jules, if you could find that freedom that would allow you to focus on what's really important and be present with your family and service to others, what's important about that? What's that going to do for you? The risk of breaking state, if extra points if people can recognize what I'm actually doing. Be loving, gain respect. Echo technique, for sure. For sure, I'm doing the echo technique. What else am I doing? Protocol? What protocol, Edie? Oh shit, he's testing us. This is like a class. Uh-huh. Welcome to Planet David. You actually have to do shit. I forgot. Emotional bonding protocol, right? Why? I want to tap into your emotions, right? Why? Because when I tap into your emotions, I tap into your motivation. I will also indirectly provoke the things that are getting in the way. So we're going to do two basic processes today. One is something we talked a little bit about during part two, which is the information process. We're going to teach you how to give your mind suggestions that it actually wants to act on. Okay. The second piece is we're gonna do some clearing stuff. We're gonna start clearing some blocks and things of that nature. Now, before we get into those processes, a couple of things we need to get out of the way. A, I'm one person working on a bunch of people, or working with a bunch of people that are in their own homes all over the world. Okay. So a couple of things. One of the things that often happens when I start leading people through a group process is I'll say, think of a time in your life when you felt X. And the first thing that happens is the moment I say a time in your life when you felt X, you go, and your brain freezes and you can't think of something, right? And by the time something actually comes to mind, I'm off into the exercise and you feel like you're behind. Don't worry about that. What you're experiencing is normal. It happens a lot, especially in group processes. Okay. So here's how you get ahead of that. Start writing stuff down ahead of time. So I'm going to give you a process. This is actually something that I've started sharing it a little bit more, but I think this is something that will help a lot of you. You see, the human nervous system has a negativity bias. If a good thing happens to me, my nervous system assigns a value of 1 to that, or a gravity of 1. If a negative thing happens to me, my nervous system assigns a gravity of 4 to it. So if you just do that math, just to get to a neutral state, I have to have 4 good things for every 1 bad thing that happens just to be zeroed out, to be neutral. I need at least 5 good things to neutralize 1 bad thing, or to be positive to 1 bad thing. Does that make sense? Are you guys with me on this so far? This is going to be important for you guys. Yes or no? Okay. So one of the things that I accidentally on purpose did when I moved from Pennsylvania to Florida, and I moved from Pennsylvania, I just turned 21. I literally took my first drink legally in Florida, or on the train going to Florida. And one of the first things I did was I went to Walgreens and bought this 99-cent spiral notebook. It had this ugly fuchsia cover on it. I'll never forget it. And the reason I did that was because when I was in Pennsylvania training with Combined Insurance Company, Combined Insurance was founded by a guy named W. Clement Stone. How many of you guys know who W. Clement Stone is or was? Okay. A lot of you have not heard of W. Clement Stone, but you may have heard of one of the people he was a sponsor for, and his name was Napoleon Hill. And they wrote a couple books together. W. Clement Stone was a big supporter of Napoleon Hill for many, many years. He was one of the first people to have $1 billion insurance company. And I went through his sales training process, and I graduated, by the way, at the top of the class. But one of the things I learned in his system was something called the deliberate use of self-motivators. In other words, putting signs and slogans and affirmations everywhere you can see them, intentionally giving yourself positive strokes verbally every morning. A lot of my trainers, you'd hear them like when we were out in the field at a hotel in the morning, you'd hear them in front of the mirror going, every day, what do you say? PMA all the way. Every day, what do you say? PMA all the way, right? They just do these crazy mantras and things like that. So I was taught very early in my life how to give myself positive suggestions and how to set that up. Well, by the time I had reached Florida, my life in Pennsylvania had pretty much become one of the most miserable episodes that I can imagine. And I was 180 pounds of head trash. And I realized that I needed to get my head right, or I was going to recreate the crap that I just left. So I walked into this Walgreens and I bought this 99-cent notebook. And I wrote in ballpoint pen, Bic, by the way, my success book on the cover. And I just sat down on my bed every night and wrote every positive thing I'd ever done, every win I'd ever experienced, no matter how big, how small, how stupid. I would just write it in the book. Learning to tie my shoe, learning to flush a toilet, the first time I got the lead in the class play, first time I kissed a girl, first time I did more than kiss a girl, right? Any win in my life that I could find in whatever order it came out, I would write every night. I would write it in that book. And if I wasn't writing, I was reading it. And I truly believe that practice, and it was only good things, by the way, only good things, that practice changed the course of my life. Because in life, it's very, very easy because of that inherent negativity bias, because of all the plotting and the manipulation by the media and social media and all these things. We're being driven into negative, unresourceful, needy states constantly. And so you need to balance that equation. You need to be reminded of all the very best things about you, of all the good, amazing things you've ever done. And the person that most needs to do that is you. You need to remind yourself, these things happened, these things were true. These are the good things that I've had in my life, right? And what will happen is each time you write, you'll reinforce it. Each time you read it, the memory will play. And those neurological connections and those memory cords and those transformational searches will grow stronger and stronger and stronger. And it'll start to balance out over time the crap and the head trash that's being programmed into you. But it'll also give you a resource so that when times come along where a guy like in a vest with a funky beard says, hey, remember a time in your life when you had the best X ever? Well, something comes up. Okay. So I don't talk about that part of my life too much because it was rough. There was only one time in my life really that was rougher than that I can recall. And that came much later. And it was also, I was able to navigate that because of a lot of the early work that I'd done. But that's what I want you guys to start practicing with. Catch yourself and revisit yourself doing all the amazingly cool things. Don't focus on the crap. Focus on all the things that you accomplished that were awesome. And even if you don't think they're awesome, they would still count by somebody on the outside as being awesome. Write those down, revisit them. Okay. So that's the first part. Second part I want to talk about is how to give yourself really, really powerful statements or suggestions. Some people might call them affirmations. I don't like to call them affirmations. I like to call them installations or yin-formations, right? So one of the things that happens a lot of times when we're first being introduced to law of attraction or self-programming, we're taught to get out a piece of paper, write down a few suggestions, and repeat them verbally out loud over and over and over and over and over again. Right? Like every day in every way, I'm getting better and better and better. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better and better, right? It's the classic one. The problem with that is that it's not native to your system. In other words, it's a statement coming from outside of you. And just like if I would take, let's say you needed a kidney and I took you were a kidney, I went to a donor and got you a new kidney and I put that kidney, into your body. Right? The problem, will that kidney save my life, by the way? If I take a kidney from a donor and put it in my body, would that make a difference in my life? It's not a trick question. Answer the question. No, it will not. Okay. Anybody have a different answer? Maybe. Okay. So let's assume it's a help. They've done the best they can on the tissue typing. I put the kidney in where the old kidney was. Okay, so Jules is following the train of thought. It will be rejected most likely. Yes. Why? Well, because it's alien to that system. True, not true. Right? So sometimes what happens is we want to give ourselves suggestions. We want to program our mind, but we don't know what to say to ourselves. So we ask somebody else what to say. We'll go get a book of affirmations. We'll go to a hypnotist. We'll go to a coach, and they'll give us a list of things to say to ourselves or whatever. But the problem is, if we don't generate it, we have a higher probability of rejecting it. It's the same with a kidney. If I put a kidney inside of you that comes from somewhere else, and I don't give you drugs to suppress your immune system, your system will fight that. And that's one of the reasons why sometimes, anybody ever notice that it takes a lot of repetition of an affirmation before you start to feel movement? You guys ever notice that? Some people, not so much, right? There's exceptions to every rule. But my experience with most people has been affirmations work, but you got to do them a lot. Yes? So what if there are a way to flip the script on that? What if there was a way to give ourselves suggestions that had zero chance of rejection, that would instantly open up energy reserves in our mind and body, change our reticular activating system to a filter that looks for the reasons why we can do something. And it was exactly the way our nervous system wanted to be communicated with. Do you think that would be a better approach to giving ourselves suggestions? Yes or no? Okay. So that's what we're going to learn first. Is that okay? And we're going to do it. We're going to do it in the context of money. But what I really want you to understand is I want you to get the structure of how to create these statements. Because once you understand and I'm going to give you the level 1 process. There's like 3 or 4 levels to this that we teach in Hidden Laws of Attraction and some of the other courses. But the level 1 is super strong as it is. I want you to get the structure of this so you can start creating programs and materials for reprogramming your subconscious mind in the way it wants to be reprogrammed, in a way that you don't have to overcome resistance after resistance after resistance after resistance after resistance. Okay? So first thing I want to do is I'm going to have to go back to my OneNote, and we're going to have to walk through some exercises. Is that okay? Okay. So before I do that, I want to just give you one quick reminder. The clock is running on the special offer we've got. Remember, you're going to get the Ultra Mind Control Training Home Study Course, Secrets of Personality Transformation. It's $2,497 value. We're going to give you the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Course, valued at $1,497. We're going to give that to you free. You're going to get the Hidden Laws of Attraction Manifestation Mastery Program, $1,497. You're going to get the Stealth CPI Universal Persuasion Protocol, $1,950. You're going to get the Renegade Reframing, Overcome Objections and Conversational Belief Change Home Study Course, valued at $1,950. You're going to get the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, valued at $1,597. We're going to give that for you free. You're going to get the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course, valued at $997. And you're going to get that Self-Transformation Virtual Healing Intensive, $2,497 value. We're going to give it to you free, November 8th through the 10th. It's a $13,572 package. We're going to give it to you for just $997, or you can break that up into 3 easy installments of $397. So click that link before we go into training. Have a good night, Neil. Let's see the replay. We'll talk to you soon. All right, click that link right now and save your spot. Next, we're going to look at, where's my OneNote? Okay. I lovingly call these Yin-formations because they all begin with a question. Or when I first learned it, they began with a question. Now they begin with a space that the unconscious mind fills. Now, as we go through this process, you're going to notice some things happening in your mind and your body. For extra credit, who can regurgitate or review for us the 6 dynamics of an unconscious response? Unconscious mind always answers what? First? Yes. Always answers honestly, always feels like you're making it up, always have an urge to edit what just came up. It's never loud, it's never linear. Now, several things are going to happen when we start doing this process. A, it's going to work. B, it's going to work. C, it's going to work. But when it works, it may provoke other things. So, as we work through this process and you become more aware of your body, I want you to start paying attention to the subtle feelings in your body. There will be positive feelings in your body as we go through this process. But you may notice, as we go through each of the Yin-formations and we speak them out loud, you may notice feelings in the background. Subtle, icky feelings, naggy feelings. I want you to pay extra attention to where those are in your body and mark them down as we go through this process. And I'll explain why that's important after we learn how to do Yin-formations. So Yin-formations is based on this idea of cause and effect. It's also based on the idea that the unconscious mind hates a vacuum. Right? So all beliefs are stated in cause and effect terms. So for example, if I were to ask Jules, what's something you believe in? Just type in the chat, Jules, real quick. What's something you believe in? God, because? Okay. So, Jules, you believe in God because, answer the question, fill in the blank. Because when I zoom out, I see it working in my life. Excellent. Now, Julie said, I can do anything. Julie, you can do anything. You believe you can do anything because what comes up in your mind when I say because? Go ahead and type it. Because I've achieved much. Excellent. So if you were to say out loud, I can do anything because I've achieved much. That would feel true to you, true or not true? That feels right to you. Yes? What happens when you say it out loud 3 times? What happens to your body? You feel elation. Excellent. Now, check in with your body right now. Tell me what changes, if anything, when I say, Julie, you can do anything because you've studied so much. How does that feel different? It feels true. Okay. Is it as strong as the one you came up with? Ah, there it is. And now you have the difference between a transplanted organ and a cloned one. You see, when we create our own suggestions, when we create our own affirmations and we use a specific structure, we accept them whole and total. We accept them fully. It releases more energy. Now, let's contrast those 2 experiences that we've just had. And now, feel this. You achieve much in life. You achieve much in life. You achieve much in life. How compelling is that? Barry? Is it as strong as the one you came up with? I need to stop echoing people when I do this. Okay. So what you're seeing now is when you get suggestions like every day in every way, I am getting better and better and better. That's good. But if you were to change it to every day in every way, not everyone, okay. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better and better. In every way, every day in every way. And better because I study how the mind works. Now, the secret to this is the word because. Okay? Because is what we call a cause and effect term. Okay? When persons states what they believe, they always use cause and effect terms. So this is the structure of internal belief. That's why when you gave me part of your belief and I asked because, you filled in the blank and it made sense. You guys with me so far? This is a little neuro-linguistic, this is a little neuro NLP nerdy stuff, but this is, I want to give the theory for why this is working. So let's say that, so anytime we create a sentence, whatever it is we want, we put a because in there and let our subconscious mind fill in the blank. It will accept and process that statement with the same level of certainty as a belief. Because all of your beliefs are built this way. You with me so far? So if we were going to do this, so I want all of you to type in the chat your top 3 suggestions or things you want to have regarding money. And I'll just create a quick list and show you how this works. And then I'll have you create some more on your own. So type in your top 3 things regarding money. House, trips, boats. Okay. So if you were going to give you, Peter, if you were going to give yourself an affirmation to manifest and produce a house, a trips, or a boat, how would you say it based on the old way of doing affirmations? What would you say to yourself? Let me see here. Peter says I would make it about someone else. Okay. Car garden. Okay. So what has to be, all right, so let's get a little bit more detective-y on this. What would have to happen for you to manifest, let me see here. You guys are starting to flood my chat. It's going by so fast I can't catch it all. Okay, so Julie's got higher income, debt-free travel. Okay. 360K home cap. Okay, so Namisha has a number there, right? So let's start with Namisha, and I'm a money magnet. I can hold and keep massive amounts of money. Oh, very good, Jules. All right, I can work with some of these. Lamar, you're cheating. You're using my structure. I have more than enough money because money comes to me easily. Perfect. So hold that thought. Let's catch everybody else up. All right, so Jules is saying, I am pardon my typing, a money magnet. I can hold and keep massive amounts of money. This is a really good affirmation based on the old model. But now, what if we go, I'll just cut and paste this really quick. I am a money magnet. I can hold and keep massive amounts of money because, Jules, what pops into your head when you hear the word because in that statement? What is the answer your unconscious mind gives, first impression? If you say to yourself, I am a money magnet, I can hold and keep massive amounts of money because what? Because I care. Now, Jules, say that to yourself out loud 5 times and notice what happens to the feelings in your body. And then when you're done, type it in the chat. Let's do another one real quick. Namisha has a 360K. So Namisha, I now earn, or I now have. I would go to progressive with this. So I would go 360K. I'm now earning. Because, fill in that blank for me, Namisha. Say that sentence out loud with the because. Tell me what your unconscious mind fills in on the back end. When he says, I'm the best at what I do. So Wendy, if I say I am the best at what I do, and I write because, what answer does your unconscious mind give you? Type that in, fill in the blank, and write it out, speak it out loud. Trained by you. That's fine. If that's what came up, fill it in the blank and speak it out loud and tell me what happens, because I'm powerful and effective. So Namisha, her says, because I am powerful and effective. Now say, for each of these that we're doing, are you guys seeing the structure here? You state what it is you want in positive progressive terms, you insert the because, and you fill in the blank. And when you fill in the blank and you start saying it out loud, notice how rapidly the energy builds up in your system. It speaks to a part of me that feels undeserving, and I can literally feel it touching that part. And Jules, when it touches that part, what happens? Most of these guys are sitting back watching this video going, holy shit, he actually is teaching us something, right? Lamar says you believe it. Isn't that interesting? You actually believe it. And isn't that important? Isn't that why we started doing affirmations in the first place? To change our beliefs? But what if you start with something you already believe that actually moves you forward? Because that's what you just did. The moment you ask your own unconscious mind, I am now the best at what I do, because it gives you something that it believes is true, that it will act on. So once again, state what you want. Insert because. Let your unconscious mind fill in the blank. So there's your steps. 1, 2, 3. Right. So I'm going to do a few. I'm going to do a few of these as if I was going to train myself. I want you to take the things that you want to work on manifesting or program your mind to do, and I want you to follow this structure. So step 1, name what you want. So maybe I want to go, I now earn $3.5 million in my business. Because I now spend more quality time. I now spend more quality time with my family, because every day I am becoming more and more attractive, because every day I am becoming more and more successful, because. Now, that's part 1 and 2. Part 1 was what I want. Part 2 is my because. Now we let the unconscious mind work its mojo. So I now earn $3.5 million in a year in my business, because I know exactly how to reach people and help them, right? The moment my brain fills in that gap, I now have a belief that my system actually has already. The secret to this is when you create an I want statement, there's a part of your brain that attaches things together in the structure of a belief. When you tap into this, it starts to free up more energy because your system actually has created it. Again, Jules, these are for me based on where I'm at. You need to start with what you can conceive of and follow the structure. Okay. I tried to give you as diverse a set of suggestions as possible because not everybody's about money, right? I now spend more quality time with my family because I have disposable income, right? Every day I am becoming more and more attractive because I easily control what I eat and how much. Every day I'm becoming more and more successful because I focus on what works and keep doing it. Okay? That's what my unconscious mind gave me when I started creating a belief structure for what I wanted. Now, what's good about this is your belief. Here's the principle, and I want you to get on. Again, I'm doing a lot more lecture on this than I normally would. I wouldn't tell you why it works. I would just say do this. What the nervous system creates, the nervous system accepts. You notice how sometimes when you do like old style affirmations, you say something or you tell yourself something and a part of you doesn't believe it. Has that ever happened to any of you? Right? Now, contrast that with what just happened when you said, I now have X, or I'm now getting X because, and you filled in the blank. That same level of disbelief isn't there. Why? Because it's something your system already believes. That's why it came up first. Right? If you follow the 6 dynamics of the unconscious response, whatever your unconscious uses to fill in that blank is the belief structure that it will act upon. You have nothing to overcome in terms of installing a belief. That belief is already there. What it will do, though, is it will trigger any belief that might interfere with the statement you just made. And now, because you provoked it, you can now go clear it. How many of you, when you did your information, how many of you felt energy grow in your body? Yes or yes? For sure, right? Was it stronger than a normal affirmation? Okay, that's already more powerful, right? Now, some of you may have not felt this. Some of you may have felt it and not realized you're feeling it. Some of you may have been acutely aware of it. How many of you noticed when those good feelings came up that there were other feelings in your body kind of in the background that were kind of icky, naggy? Yes or yes? Yes or no? Okay. What you've just done is found the beliefs you didn't know you had. So when you use the information process, it's going to give you this big rush of energy. And any part of you that's holding a charge that's in contradiction or trying to keep that at bay is going to get activated so you can find it and now you can eliminate it. How many of you, when those icky naggy feelings came up, pointed to where you felt it and marked it on your page, like I told you to do? As they hurriedly scramble to write things down. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to take 2 minutes, maybe less. I want you to use this yin-formation structure. I want you to write down yin-formation suggestions for manifesting the things you want. And I want you to speak them out loud. And as you speak them out loud and you feel the feelings change in your body, notice where the icky stuff is. Okay? And just make a mark or a notation so you know how to get back to that. Because our next phase is going to be getting rid of that stuff. Right? Again, if you want an even deeper dive into this stuff, by all means, make sure you click that link, get the virtual healing intensive, and then we'll go through that. We'll spend 3 days just deep diving into this stuff. Okay? Me and you and a few other people, and we'll just knock shit out of the park. But if you want to work on yourself, then this is, again, you've got to know what you want. You've got to install it. You've got to notice what it provokes. You've got to clear what provokes, and then you've got to reinforce the new training. This is how you reprogram. Okay? Everything starts with, what do I want? What's in the way? How do I clear it? How do I reinforce what I want? Okay? When you guys are ready and you've done your yin-formations and you've marked out the little icky places, you just nod your head to let me know. Or not nod your head, type in the chat that you're done. See, I'm so used to doing this stuff online. I don't need to, here's the thing, I don't need to know where it is, guys. The only one who needs to know where it is you. And yes, Melissa, it will be somewhere in your body. Every now and then, it'll be something outside of you that you'll point to. It doesn't matter, you treat it the same way. Okay, good. All right. All right, so we have this, yes? Okay. So now what we're going to do, let me expand my window here just so I can see all my little prompts. So I have 22 people in Zoom, and how many people do I have? I have a lot of people in YouTube. All right, YouTubers, this is where it gets crazy. So if you're listening to what I'm going to do next, and you're driving, or you're operating machinery, or the stove, or a sewing machine, or anything that requires your full and undivided attention, you are not to do the following drills. Okay? Capiche? Okay. All right. So here's the first thing. First thing I want us to do is, well, we're just going to go right into magic framing. Okay. So I want you to look at your first yin-formation. I want you to speak it out loud. I want you to notice where in your body the icky, naggy feeling is and point to it. Now, I don't want any of you, typing in the chat. Just follow along. Okay? Point to where you feel it. There were a picture floating in the space around you that represented that feeling, a feeling you could reach out and touch, or a picture you could reach out and touch. Where would it be? Trace the outline of it with both of your hands so you know how big it is. Grab that frame. Make it big, like your iPhone, like your iPhone, the window on your iPhone or your touchscreen. Notice how the feeling shifts and changes. Bring it back to its original size. Now, trace the outline of it with both of your hands so you know how big it is. Put a big, thick black frame around that puppy. Now, most of you are probably too young to remember when televisions had real dials and knobs and switches instead of touch screens and remote controls. I want you to feel along the base of that frame. You're going to notice some dials and knobs and switches like on an old-style television. I want you to find the knob that controls the brightness or the contrast. Turn that knob all the way to the right until the image whites out completely. Notice how that makes you feel. Turn the knob all the way to the left until the image blacks out completely. Notice how that makes you feel. Decide which one you like better. Once you have that, if you like it all the way to the right, turn it all the way to the right. If you like it all the way to the left, turn it all the way to the left. Take the index finger of your dominant hand and in glowing golden letters across that whited out or blacked out screen, there were some lessons that this experience had to teach you, positive or negative. I want you to write those lessons across that whited out or blacked out screen in glowing golden letters so you can keep all the lessons and let everything else go. Now, some people know exactly what those lessons are, and they blast them on the screen like it's nobody's business. Some people have no clue what those lessons are, but the part of you that created that feeling and that picture, that part always knows. So give that part of you permission to use that finger and write what it needs to write on that whited out screen, like automatic writing. Now, some people draw pictures. Some people draw squiggles. Some people get really pissed off and write F-U, F-U, F-U across the screen. Some people write with both fingers simultaneously. They're writing Chinese or Hebrew at the same time. However your body does it, that's just how your body does it. Let that part express itself until all the lessons are on that screen and everything else has been let go. When you know it's done, and only when you know it's done, I want you to reach up, shrink that picture down with your hands to the size of a postage stamp. Notice how the feelings in your body shift and changes with every breath you take and every beat of your heart. Your unconscious mind moves that frame all the way back beyond the horizon. You know the sound a hammer makes when you're banging on a nail? Hear it nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back. When you know it's nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back, test it. Try to bring it back and notice what happens instead. When you're satisfied, stop testing, scan your body, notice how different you feel. Lamar says, I feel lighter. Boom. Well done. Some people process a little longer. Let it just process out. And when you're done, type it in the chat. Check in with my YouTubers. Okay. We got some crazy Yin-formations going on in our YouTube land here. But you know what? It doesn't matter. The truth is, what the nervous system creates, the nervous system accepts. And if your nervous system will accept it, your nervous system will act on it. Okay? All right, let me go back to my Zoomers. Wendy says, boom. Jack says, better. Julie Paul says, lessened a lot. Excellent. Oh, excellent, Jules. You're yawning. That's excellent. It means you're processing. Let it happen. Keep going. Some people laugh, some people yawn, some people cry, some people twitch, some people feel waves of emotion come up, some people just break out in a sweat all over. Doesn't matter. However your body does it, that's just your neurology resetting itself. It's just the emotional detox. Peter says always works. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. If you understand, very emotional, excellent. Let those emotions come out, Melissa. As they come up, they come out. As you feel it, you reveal it. As you reveal it, you heal it. If you need to process more, you can always go back and frame it again, or you can get a pencil and some paper, write it out, and then burn it. Just get it out of give your system any chance it can to purge that stored up emotional charge. Because that's what makes us ill. That's what holds us back. That's what's empowering the limiting beliefs. It's not the belief system itself. Well, it is actually, but what gives it the mojo is the energy that's built up. When we pop that pimple, metaphorically speaking, as long as we've gotten the thing that caused the pimple in the first place, you're done. If we get the pus, but we don't get the thing that caused the pimple, it's coming back, right? So I'm using a very disgusting metaphor, but I hope you guys get it. Okay. Melissa says, my back is feeling better. Honey, I am not surprised. So much back stuff is emotional. Wendy's laughing at me. Jack says, David, does the part outside of your body you point to before the frame, can the energy being held in your body be part of the Yes. You know, one of the things I learned in this business is that practically anything can be the cause of anything. It really depends on how your nervous system is perceiving and processing that information. It really is. That's why we have to keep going back to the dynamics of the unconscious response. The unconscious mind always answers first. It always answers honestly. It always feels like you're making it up. You always have an urge to edit what just came up. It's never loud. It's never linear. Now, I'm going to teach you another technique, another two techniques. But before we do, this is kind of our last call. So if you've been on the fence about the power of the Identity by Design system and all the programs that go with it, well, would now be a good time to click that link and save your spot. Okay, for that virtual healing intensive, that's going to be worth its weight in gold. For those of you who've been at it, you guys know, right? If this is your first time, this is your chance to really get some personalized attention from me. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Once again, you're going to get the Secrets of Personality Transformation, Ultra Mind Control Training Home Study Course in the manual. It's a $2,497 value. You're going to get the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Program and a $1,497 value. We're going to give that to you free. If you purchased early, Michael, you automatically get the perks. Okay? So you got all this. You're good. Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation and Mind Control Training, $1,497 value, absolutely free. You're going to get the Stealth CPI Universal Persuasion Protocol, $1,950 value, 100% free. Renegade Reframing, Overcoming Objections, and Obliterating, Changing Beliefs in Normal Conversations, Masterclass, $1,950 value. We're going to give that to you free. You're going to get a 3-month trial membership to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, $1,597 value, free. You're going to get the Self-Transformation Virtual Healing Intensive, $2,497 value, small group therapeutic retreat with me. You're going to get that for free. Total value is $13,572. Click the link, click the link, click the link before it's too late. $997 value. You get it all for just one low installment, or if you need to, you can break that up into 3 easy installments of $397 each. Okay. That being said, let's talk about what comes next. Okay. So one of the things we want to do now, so we've got our Yin-formations. Yes. Wendy says, see you in November. Excellent. Can't wait. We figured out how to remove safety rules. You see, a lot of times our nervous system won't let us have a certain result or keep a certain result because it believes in some way that that result is dangerous for us. And so it assigns little riders and safety addendums to the feeling. And we don't know they're there, even though we see the patterns. We don't know why we're doing that pattern until they're provoked. And so we can use the information process to create belief systems that our nervous system already believes is possible and true for us. One of the beautiful things about the Yin-formation process is it doesn't trigger as many limiting beliefs as a regular affirmation does, because it's something your unconscious mind is willing to believe in. Remember, anytime you create a statement, put a because, and then let it fill in the blank, the unconscious mind never resists itself. That's why you tend to get a bigger bump in energy faster. Now, if you take those suggestions, now you could take any single suggestion and write 5 to 10 iterations of it. So like, for example, using, let me get one of your guys's. Hold on. Okay, so let's look at Namisha. So I now earn $360,000 a year because I'm powerful and effective. That's one Yin-formation. But I could actually make multiple Yin-formations by saying I am now earning $360,000 a year because I know how to do what I do. I am now making $360,000 a year because I know how to manage my money. I am now making $360,000 a year because I know how to build my business. I'm now making $360,000 a year because I know the right people. So again, I'm pretending to be Namisha, so these probably won't resonate quite as powerfully with her because she didn't make them up. But I'm using the same structure. So I've taken one Yin-formation, and I've used that same stem. I am now earning $360,000 a year because, and I'm filling in the blank with something different every time. So what you do is you take anywhere from you make 5 to 10, 12, 20, however many you want to create. You make a list of them, right? Without an induction, without any kind of progressive relaxation. You just speak them into a recorder. Okay? And you have them playing in the background all the time. When you're driving, when you're working, they don't have to be super loud. They just have to be audible, sub-audible. Okay? Now, if you want to do sleep programming, you can listen to it while you're going to sleep. Because they're your words and it's your nervous system, that will be the thing your unconscious mind processes while you're sleeping. Okay? If you want to go one step further, well, 2 steps. You can actually have the recorder by your bed, and as soon as you start to wake up in the morning, turn it on and listen while you're in that dreamy state. And it'll go in faster and deeper. If you want to do orthodox autogenic training or hypnosis programming, then you put a little hypnotic induction on the beginning of it and listen to it for 20 minutes, once or twice a day, right? But the secret to this is as you listen and you create these yin-formations, it's going to provoke body feelings that are connected to the limiting beliefs that you need to clear to move forward. So you use the informations to provoke the limitations, you clear the limitations, and then you reinforce and re-strengthen the informations by repetition. And that's going to be the most consistent, powerful way for you to reprogram your subconscious mind in an ongoing basis, in a way that's in harmony with how your nervous system wants to practice. Now, in Identity by Design, we have a gazillion ways to amplify and accelerate that, to make change rapid and instant. But this is something that you can do with a minimum level of skill, that you can just start making powerful changes really, really quickly. So Jewel is asking, when we record these to sleep with, does it need to be in your own voice? It will work if he listens to your voice, but it will work better if he listens to his voice. Okay? Remember, this is the overall principle that we operate, one of the main principles that we operate from in Planet David. The human nervous system never resists itself. What you create, you accept. Even if you didn't know it was coming out of you, the fact that it came out of you, your system will accept it. And that's how it works. Okay? So I hope that I have delivered on my promise to you, that I've given you some very powerful ways to clear stuff. I gave you 3, like 2 or 3 at the beginning of the webinar. I gave you 1 way to tap into motivation. I gave you 2 ways to clear stuff, I think. Plus what we did at the post webinar. So, for your sake and mine, so I can continue to be your guide, your mentor, please click those links, get to the Healing Intensive, get the courses, use them, please, right? Use them. I love you all. Last call before I go. Secrets of Personality Transformation is $2,497 value. You're going to get Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Course, $1,497 value. You're going to get Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation, and Mind Control Mastery, $1,497 value. You get Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation, Mastery Home Study Course, $1,497 value. Stealth CPI, Universal Persuasion Protocol, $1,950 value. You're going to get that free. You're going to get Renegade Reframing, Overcoming Objections, and Conversational Belief Change, $1,950. You're going to get that free. NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, $1,597 value. We're going to give you that free with the 13-year video bonus archive. Stealth Instant Conversation Hypnosis Crash Course, $997 value. We're going to give that to you free. You're going to get the online 3-day virtual healing intensive, $2,497 value, 100% free if you're one of the next people to click on this link before I log off. Remember, for those of you watching this replay, You will not qualify for these bonuses if you don't click the link while I'm on the webinar. So if you're watching the replay, I'm sorry, you missed the boat. You can still get the original offer, but you can't get the VIP virtual healing intensive. You don't get the instant conversation nurses crash course. You don't get the NLP Power Mastermind mentoring program. If there's duplicates here, then you have some of these courses and you want to take advantage of this package, but you don't want to duplicate your courses, let Moss or Mia know. We'll let you substitute out things of equal or lesser value. Okay, click this link right now, nlppower.com/MIND, nlppower.com/MIND. I love you all. Use it well. We'll see you next time. In the words of the immortal Mork from Ork, Nanu Nanu. Good night and God bless. Take care.